All right. Shalom, everyone. Peace for those who love peace and no peace for the wicked, the Lord said. I hope my voice coming good from your side. Please invite your friends. And if you are a Muslim, invite your 4 wives and 60 kids. Today, we are going to share with you some of the most important things about the duty of a Muslim. Sadly, many of the Muslims until now do not know what is their duty, which is very shameful. I'm very disappointed that you are a Muslim, you grow up in a Muslim family, you grow a beard, up and down, 2 locations, yet you do not know what is your duty. Something not right. So uh, I hope today we will learn together. Uh, if there is any Muslim who would like to join us and tell us what is the duty of a Muslim, I'm going to open my Discord or even Skype if it's necessary, whatever you wish. So you can share with us, in case you are a Muslim, what is the duty of a Muslim person. You know, the word duty is a very heavy duty word, duty. It's not a choice, it's a duty, right? So what is not a choice for a Muslim? Let me open Discord. Let's see here. What, what is duty of a Muslim? Google never understand what I'm saying. I say duty, it says beauty. Unbelievable. It's okay. It's okay. I will forgive it. I will forgive Google. Ignorant Google. All right. So we are in Discord. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me in Discord. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. If not, I have to exit and come back. So if you're a Muslim, you would like to join us. How is my voice coming, guys? Is it clear? Is my voice clear? Any problem? Well, if you have any problem, let me tell you something. Prophet Muhammad said that, shaitan, he pee in your ears. And that's very normal for anyone who is not a Muslim. I mean, if the shaitan would pee in the ear of the Muslim, what he would do in your ear? You can imagine, you know, if this what he do for non-Muslims and for Muslims, sorry. So, he will block your ears. So here in front of us, we have a video. Let us share the screen with the people in the Discord too. This is Dr. Zakir Naik. And the topic is very important. This is a very serious topic. We know that nations can be destroyed because of shaking hands. You know what you do and what you should know about shaking hands while wearing gloves. Mm. We need a sheikh to tell us if we can shake hands with women wearing gloves. For sure, without the gloves, it's impossible. No way. You know. So the duty of a Muslim start where? start here maybe. Let us see.
The next question. My name is Arman. I am from India. My question is, Islam has prohibited to shake hands with the opposite gender. Because in Islam, it is prohibited.
Just a question, Zakir Naik. Why you have something growing in your nose? What is that? Maybe it's a mosquito that bite you there? I don't know. I see a big pimple in the tip of your nose. It looked like a chicken peak. I don't know. Go ahead, go ahead. So his name is Amran from India, okay? And Islam forbid women, men from shaking. Where in Islam it says that? Any Muslim can show me where it says in the Quran you cannot shake hands with women? Yeah, okay.
Prohibited to touch a non-mahram. So
What? Sorry guys, this guy, his English is even worse than my English. I have no problem with his, but I have no idea what he said. What?
it is prohibited to touch a non-mahram.
Touch what?
Prohibited to touch a non-mahram.
What? Anybody can translate for me what he's saying? It's forbidden to touch and what?
So my question is, prohibited to touch a non-mahram. Prohibited to touch a non-mahram. Prohibited to touch a non-mahram.
What?
So my question is, prohibited to touch a non-mahram. Prohibited to touch a non-mahram.
What is that? We got we got the word forbid for like forbid, but touch what?
So my question is, Islam, it is prohibited to touch a non-mahram. So my question is,
What?
can a man shake hands with a woman while wearing gloves? Please answer as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. As soon as possible. Very important, very, very, very serious question. As soon as possible. There's a woman in front of me. She's wearing gloves. Can I take hands with her? Zakir, give me the answer, man. As soon as possible. Okay.
The question posed by Arman is that it is prohibited in Islam for a man to touch a non-mahram woman, and he agrees with it, it's haram. But can he touch a woman after wearing gloves? Means if you are wearing gloves, can he shake hands with a woman? And we know the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is very clear.
It's very clear. The hadith is very clear. It's not Allah said, no. The hadith is so clear. Muhammad, he decide he shake hands with who? Okay, what the hadith of sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what it says?
That the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, it is better to hammer a nail or a needle into the head rather than touch a non-mahram.
What? You know, Zakir Naik, I mean, you call me every day. Until now, I could not understand what you are saying. Can you please just give me a call and explain to me? I mean, after you finish this program, if you don't mind. What? It's better to put a nail in the head better than what?
Touch a non-mahram. The hadith is very strong.
What?
Nail or a needle into the head rather than touch a non-mahram. The hadith is very strong. It's very bold. It's very direct. It is preferable to hammer a nail or a needle in the head rather than touch a non-mahram woman. So therefore, touching non.
Is that supposing an Arabic word he is saying? Hey Muslims, this is your sheikh and trying to say an Arabic word. I played his video 1,000 times, still I don't understand what he's saying. Even though I know what the hadith. But what in the word he is saying? Touch what?
Non-mahram is completely haram. It's not prohibited. It is prohibited. And
As long it is prohibited to shake hands with the women. So how your prophet command the women to give her boobs to me? So women wearing gloves is a problem. With the gloves, without the gloves. How your prophet he received Quran saying that you have and you can do 10 times breastfeeding for adult. And this adult is not your kid, he's adult. He's not your son. You know, like the mother is, I mean, if you want to be funny, that you are 30 years old and your mama, she's giving you her nipples. He come, son, come. Hey, mama, mama. What happened? You know, by the way, your beard is hurting my nipples. Okay, mama, mama, I want nipples, mama. What the heck? Mm. The duty of a Muslim, huh? We cannot shake hands with the women, but we can take them to the hotels and give them one hamburgers and they open their legs. And then we call it marriage. Right? Mm. This website is not functioning. Finally. The verse of stoning and the breastfeeding an adult 10 times revealed. And then the Abdul, they try to fix this issue. What they say to you, no, no, the woman, she milk herself in a cup and she give it to you. Shut up, you idiot. It says breastfeeding. In Arabic, it says suckling. Suck, you suck it. Not to drink it. Secondly, the women who Muhammad spoke to, she don't even have milk. Do you think women, they have faucet, they can open their nipples and the milk will come right away? Women, they have milk when they have babies. Not all the time they have milk. Otherwise, who going to buy milk from Walmart? You have 4 wives. If every one of them should give you at least for 2 cups a day, I mean, you can make yogurt. So, brother, it's a very, very, very conservative religion, brother. We don't allow. My name is from Amran. I'm from India, and I eat curry. And I like to know if it's okay to shake hand with the women. She's wearing gloves. And Zakir Naik, like this is, this is the satellite. They spend millions of dollars for those programs. Oh yeah. Tell him, brother. What is the solution now?
Completely haram, it's not prohibited, it is prohibited, it's not permitted. Regarding the question that can you touch a woman wearing gloves? Now there are some hadith in which the Prophet is said to have shaken hands of ladies beneath a cloth. There are a few hadith. But
Hold on. So if a Muslim woman wearing jeans or wearing burqa, can I put my hands over her legs in the top of the burqa? Hmm? Because she is covering herself now. Like, can I put my hand over her butt? Mamma mia. There is some hadith says you can do that. So now because she have something on her, I can put my hand there, huh? And that, what is the purpose of this? What the gloves will do exactly? Hmm? I mean, okay, based on what you are saying, can I use condom? And that will make me not having sex? Uh-huh. Because I see I'm wearing gloves. She can wear gloves, I wear gloves, and we gloves each other. That's deep. That's a very, 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 very. I'm out anywhere. I'm out of all very in the world. Yeah, I'm very, 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 very excited to be a Muslim. Tell us more, tell us more.
to have shaken hands of ladies beneath a cloth. There are a few hadith, but all these hadiths are zaif. They are weak.
They are weak? Those hadith are weak. Those hadith are weak. Vicky. And the funny, they come after us and they say your book is corrupted. And then their book is full of, all of them, they are weak, brother. All of them, not even one is not weak. All of them, they are weak. You know, Zakir Naik, when you used to be younger, I mean, you know, I mean, now I don't know how many teeth left for you. I mean, you still have teeth. Why weak is coming weak? Hold on. Hello? Get a breath. First of all, I'm going to sue you for defamation. What defamation? What I do? What I? You said I have no teeth. I can bite you and I can prove it. I know, Zakir Naik, you are a dog. Christian Prince, I am recording you. I'm going to give this to the court. Okay, what's wrong with you? You said to me you will bite me. I don't know. Why you said you want to bite me if you're not a dog? You know, I'm confused now. Christian Prince, first of all, you that admitted you are always confused. Ah, now we are talking. So now this Muslim who called you, he is confused. It's proven that the Muslims are the one is always even about shaking hands, they are confused. I'm not confused about that. Kids and because they are very dirty. And you like to shake hands with women. You like to shake hands with men? Zakir, I got you. Kids and friends, you are very dirty. I don't mean it this way. I wish I can shake hand with men, but Allah forbid me. But yeah, but I mean, you can shake hand with men. So Muhammad, he make you allowed to shake hand with men. Why you do that? I like to shake hands with women. It's nice. I mean, they are women. Beautiful. Lady, may I shake your hand? Yeah, look at their hands, how beautiful they are. Why in the world I want to shake hands with someone like you idiot? You Muslims are weird. Yuck. Do you like men, Zakir Naik? Get some rest. I have to go because my wife is calling me. Like, what? Hold on. Tell me about why you like to shake hands with men, but not with. Guys, do you see the duty of the Muslim? Islam is a very, very, I mean, interesting topic. We are time, you know, we have a flying cars, and they are trying to go to Mars and drone, and you know, and the Muslims are busy. Can I shake hand? Why you cannot shake hands? Are you going to masturbate if you shake hand with the women? What will happen really if you do shake hand with the women? Are you pervert people? Are you really pervert? I mean, you have to be a pervert to think about it in such a way. Because if you think about it in sexual way, well, that's when you're a pervert. It's a shaking hand. It's not, you know, they are not kissing, hugging, sleeping together, shaking hands. What will happen in 5 seconds? You will get a roast. She will have orgasm. Mm, okay. Tell us more, Zakir.
There is no authentic hadith in which the Prophet ever shook hands with ladies. In fact, there are various hadith of Hazrat Aisha, may Allah.
There's no hadith ever that the Prophet shake hands with the lady, you stupid idiot. The Arab don't shake hands anyway. Do you know how the Arab they shake hands? They kiss each other and they kiss the nose. Let me show you. Let me show you. Ah. Let us see if I can find you some video. Hold on. Potato. Right. This is love. Baby, you love me. You love me no more. Do you want to see how they shake hands, the Arab? Take a look. Next, 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 yes, yeah. Next, next. Oh man, the prophet never shake hands with the women. This is what he do. Those are the real Arab, you know. And did you notice the kiss in the mouth? Did you see the mouth kiss? I don't know, guys. Are you? Did you see it or no? I don't know how good your vision is. Let me zoom in more. Hold on. I can zoom in. I think this is maximum. Yeah, let us play it. This guy, because he's older than him, you know, he kissed him differently. Hold on. Let us see this one. Go back. By the way, don't talk me wrong. I am an Arab, but I never kissed this way. Okay. Over my dead body. What's going on? Brother, this is too much. This is too much love. You guys are missing a lot. You don't know how to live. And they say to you in Europe there's a homosexual, you know? There's a homosexual in Europe, you know. They do you know, sexual. They're sexual Europe. Yeah. You have no idea. Yeah, zoom. No, hold on. Let me go back. Let me go back. Mean. Oh, mommy. Oh, mommy blue. Oh, mommy blue. Oh, mommy. And they are worrying about kissing and, shaking hands. La, la, la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Hmm. So we can do this with men, but we cannot shake hands with women? Really? Seriously? Mean. Too much hello will kill you. This is hello? What they will do when they say goodbye? This is hello, huh? Mean. And this is in the front of the camera. What they will do behind the camera? Zoom, brother. Zoom more. Hey, YouTube, don't censor them, okay? They are spreading corona. I remember in the time of corona, anything I say, YouTube censor my video and delete this. They say to me, this video contain an opinion against science. Your video is being taken off for it cause life hazard. Life hazard, huh? Yeah, potatoes. Do we have any Muslim would like to tell us the duty of a Muslim? So what? So the Muslim man, he cannot shake hands with the women, but he can hold her nipples and her breast. He can grab her ass, huh? Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, Zakir, come on. Sorry for interrupting you, brother. And what you, where you are sitting here? You look like a monkey sitting in a chair, in the high chair. What all those things behind you? I mean, what you go? What about you go to the flea market and you buy all the furniture and put them behind you, man? Is that really a decoration? Is that a candle for the Jews? Where do you get these candles from? Are you a Jew? And why they are red? Red flowers? What the heck is that? Okay. Sorry for the interpretation. Zoom.
Is said to have shaken hands of ladies beneath a cloth. There are a few hadith, but all these hadiths are zaif. They are weak. There is no authentic hadith in which the Prophet ever shook hands with ladies. In fact, there are various hadith of Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, who is the wife of the Prophet, saying that the Prophet in his life has never touched any namera woman. So based on this, it is not permitted to shake hands.
Based on this, the Prophet, only if his eyes fall into a woman, her husband must divorce her so the Prophet can if her. This is the true duty of a Muslim. Anyone want to prove me wrong? A Muslim in the chat, he is saying, Jesus says, turn your cheek. Abdul, no, Jesus, he is not saying turn your cheek to a Muslim. He is saying turn your cheek to somebody he is civil. But if it's a Muslim, a wicked person, the Bible says clearly what we would do with the wicked. We make them shish kebab. Try me. Do we have any Abdul? Any Abdul from the religion of the fool, the duty of the Muslim? Hello? It's me you're looking for. Give me kiss as never before. This is the love between us. Hello? My name is Mohammed. Hello? His name is Mohammed. Hello? Muhammad plus Muhammad. Hello? We have a home. Oh, hello? Mm. That's wonderful, by the way. Do we have any Muslim would like to tell us what's going on in the Islamic religion? So you cannot shake hands with the women, but you can suck her boobs? Huh? Hello? Do you remember Muhammad Hijab? The coward, he said that the Muslim, he want to debate me, and then he played my voice saying to a Muslim woman, suckle me. He said, you said that to her? You said that to her? I said, yes, I was quoting your filthy prophet. Hang up on him. Hang up on him, bastard. You stupid, I was quoting your filthy prophet. Suckle me. Why they get upset if we practice Islam? Why they are so proud about Islam until we want to practice it? Hmm? Any Abdul? I want to convert to Islam right now, and I want to do 10 times breast suckling. But before I convert, I would like to practice. Any Muslim can ask his wife, his sister, I prefer for sure young ones, I don't like, I mean, she is 20, 25. And don't give me Sauda bintu Dama. She was like in her 90. Come on. I want someone she have like, anyone voluntarily will teach me how, because I need to try to practice before I convert to Islam. I cannot convert without knowing what I'm converting to. We need to practice this. This is God sending those verses? God. So the God told you don't shake hands with women. By the way, where is that? It says in the Quran. Where it says that? It's talking only about Muhammad. Muhammad, because he is filthy man. He is pervert. He think anyone he will come to his house, he want to F his wives. Because what he do? Any woman he see, he want to F her. Even though his thing is not functioning. No, seriously, don't take me wrong, guys. Some of you might be thinking about what I'm saying in a dirty way. Shame on you. Shame on you. I just want to practice before I convert. You see, if you want to go and get a license for a gun, if you if you are not serving the army, like I was in the army, but if you are not, you have to go and get a training before you get the gun. Like many states, they practice that. So how I'm going to hold this gun? It's called nipple. There's a very well-known weapon in the army. They use it. It's called napalm. You know, it's like a liquid mixed with the petroleum and fire, and it will burn anything in the way. You know, I don't want to do any mistake when I'm doing it. I want to do it in the right way, halal way. So shouldn't we have a volunteer? How conservative this religion is, and why intend? And look what it says, guys. Look at this. Forget about the goat eating the Quran. Now, by the way, the Quran is preserved. The Quran is anti-corruption, but only the Quran is weak in front of goats. Goaty, goaty, how do you do? Shame on your parents. What do? You ate the Quran of Muhammad, and after you make it, food, you ate it, and you make the do. Goaty, goaty, what do you do? Shame on Muhammad, shame on you. You make it do. You ate the Quran, and then you make it do, which mean pee pee, which mean aha. Squeeze it, tease it, freeze it. So the goat ate the Quran. However, this goat is very educated. She's chosen only certain verses. Look like she is jealous, you know. This goat, obviously, she was a fornicator. She was afraid that they would stone her. Shame on you. She's a female, obviously. And she is jealous because there's men are going after women to do breastfeeding when this is her business. So she afraid she will be out of business. But look what it says here. These verses were abrogated in recitation. Abdul, it just says the goat ate it. You say to me abrogated by recitation. hold on. I don't know who's stupid here. The goat ate the Quran. The goat did not eat the recitation. Did the goat eat your memory? So who can recite? I mean, how in the world you can abrogate recitation, you donkey? Recitation is repeating something your memory. So the goat erased your memory too. She ate the memory of every Abdul, huh? And where you get this is from? That this is abrogated by recitation. And then it says, and then the number reduced for 5. What the heck? So Allah made a mistake, calculation mistake when He said 10. Why 5 can replace 10? What went wrong? How it was 10 and now it's 5? And where is the verse about 5? Supposedly now it's 5. Where we can find the verse of 5? Remember, this is breastfeeding for adult. Any Abdul? Hmm. Who is a Muslim would like to join us? The duty of a Muslim. I like it. Anything else? This is the duty of a Muslim? The guy calling all the way from India to learn this? Brother, it's haram to shake hand with women? Brother? I mean, those Muslims are so conservative, but they are number one people in the world who search for sex with donkey. Go to Google and check it out. Sex with donkey, sex with goat, rape, sex with the children. Hmm? Any Abdul? Let us see. Why we do need a religion? That's a good question. Let us see what Zuzu will say. I never watched this video before. I mean, I'm just looking right now. Whatever there we watch together.
Inshallah, we'll now go to the mic on the left-hand side for the brothers. Go ahead with your question, brother.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rajesh and I'm from IT profession. My question is, why a religion for a peace?
Why a religion?
Yeah, why do we need a religion? Like Islam, you're preaching Islam.
Brother asked a very good question. That why do you need a religion? Like Islam or any other religion. Brother, if you understand what is the meaning of religion.
What is that?
Religion, according to Oxford Dictionary, means a belief in a superhuman controlling power, a personal god or gods that deserve worship.
False. A religion is a group of people believe in same belief. Even atheist, it is called religion. You're an idiot. Continue.
In Islam, the Arabic word used is deen. Deen in Islam means a way of life. So you asked me the question that why do you require a way of life? And why do you require to understand, as Oxford Dictionary says, religion means believing in God. So why do we have to understand God? The reason is that, brother, normally when you get a machine, if you get a machine, maybe a complicated machine, along with it you get an instruction manual. I'm asking you the question.
I am asking you the question, all of you Muslims, where is the manual of Allah? Who is a Muslim can answer this question. When you get a machine, you get a manual. What is the manual of Allah? Any Muhammadan? If you are a Muslim, you like to join us, we are in Discord waiting for you. What is the manual? You heard Zakir Naik saying, when you get a machine, by the way, the machine come with manual is the one made by the kuffar. The machine made by Muslims, there's no manual. There's a bomb and there's TNT. You hit the bomb, you boom. There's no manual. Too late to practice anyway, you know. It's one-time hit. You're Abdul talking about machine and manual. So where is the manual of Allah? Don't tell me it's the Quran. Because manual is something clear. People will return the machine as the manual if the manual are not clear. So is the Quran is a clear book? So we can consider it a manual? You see how stupid what you are saying?
Why do you require the instruction manual? Why?
And look, the Muslims, hey, unbelievable, brother, smart answer, brother, unbelievable. What the heck is that? Those Muslims are very smart. Is that supposedly an answer for why we need religion? The manual? You know what? If we assume yes, and this is the way of life, where is the manual in the Quran? Who is the Muslim want to show me? By the way, if you are here first time, don't forget to subscribe, because by the coming 24 hours you will unsubscribe again. Your wife, she will be upset. She will say to you, stay here for 6 hours. You will become addicted. Unsubscribe, I force you, or I will divorce you. And then you said to yourself, which one is better? She divorced me or I stay subscribe? Huh. Maybe I stay subscribe. Listen, Abdul, Islam is the way of life. Is that the verse in the Quran says that Allah, He sent an angel, their name is Harut and Marut, to teach us how to make wife and husband fight? It's a way of life, huh? Allah Himself, He sent two angels in the Tower of the Babylon by the Tower of Babylon, where we sat down. Harut came down. He looked like a clown. And he opened a school. Okay, so Harut and Marut sent by Allah, and they are angels. And they teach magic. However, before you join the classroom, brother, you have to sign a disclaimer. Disclaimer. We are only brother and sister for a trial. So disbelieve not by the learning of this magic from us. Look how Islam is the way of life or the way of divorce. Why in the world Allah will open a school of Harry Potter to teach magic? Muslims, seriously, this is very deep. This is very powerful. Are you serious? Your God, you open a school of Harry Potter? That's amazing. Yeah, it's a way of life. Like as an example, the Prophet, he said, if a fly fell in your soup, walk, are you a Muslim, my friend? Are you a Muslim? Walk. Let us see. If a fly fell in your soup, dip it, and throw it, and he drink a soup. Go ahead, walk.
No, brother, I'm not. If it is, I can go down again.
Yeah, let us, maybe we can get some Muslim. If we did not, maybe we can take some Christian, if you don't mind.
Okay, brother. Okay.
Thank you. We are short of Abdul. We want Abdul. If you know any Abdul, call him. All right. So Prophet Muhammad, he taught us the way of life. If a fly fell into your soup, by the way, this is proven scientifically to be true. You know. Who in the world even dare to say that this is not true? Let us see. I want to teach you the way of life, the way it is. You know, I want to teach you how to enjoy life. Don't listen to this guy, Christian Prince. You know, listen to Prophet of Allah. And by the way, this is Da'if. Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, used to give the people thickened grape juice into which flies which fall. Well, they will say to you, this is da'if. What if I show you this is even sahih? Huh? Muslims, Islam teach us the way of life or the way to get sick. Any Abdul? Let us show you what Muhammad said. Remember, Islam is the way of life. Without the manual, we do not know how to live. So beautiful. It is Hassan, it is Sahih, brother. Walking down the street, la 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 la, fly my soup. So if a fly fell into your soup, he should plunge it in? Really? Like push it down? Like what? Like we cover her ass and her head, or like make her dive, huh? Why we will do that? For one of its wings there is a disease, and the other one is a cure. And brother, that is the way of life. This is the manual, huh? Say that again, say it. You know, I did not hear it really. I'm Shaitan, he pee in my ears, as the Prophet Muhammad said.
Understand, as Oxford Dictionary says, religion means believing in God. So why do we have to understand God? The reason is that, brother, normally when you get a machine, if you get a machine, maybe a complicated machine, along with it you get an instruction manual. I'm asking the question, why do you require the instruction manual?
Why? Look how excited the Muslims.
Why, brother?
Why?
To understand.
To understand, because you don't know the machine. If you allow me to call the human being the machine, you'll have to agree it is the most complicated machine on the face of the earth. So don't you think this requires...
Hold on, stupid. It's the opposite. Because you said when you receive a machine, we are not the machine. You receive a machine, you get the manual with it. So you idiot, it's not the human being, it's the machine. It's Allah. We are not the machine. We are going the one who will use it. You see how we switch things upside down? And this is supported a smart one between them. Human being is born, he functioned the way God created him. He know, even cat, they knew how to pee and piss. And even they cover their poop. Cats know that, you know, and they clean themselves with their tongue. Even birds, they take a shower. Hold on. There's a very important hadith about very sensitive information. A man, he said to a Muslim man, you're a prophet, you're a friend. He teach you everything, including how to do shit. The Muslim, they try to fix it. They say, the prophet, he teach you even how to do clean yourself. No. It says it clearly in Arabic, shit. And all of this is sahih. As you see, you're a friend, he teach you even how to do shit. Anyone who knows Arabic, he knew what the word shit is. Shit. If you don't believe me, I can highlight for you the word and translate it.
Shit.
So what he is teaching you? Your friend Muhammad is teaching you how to do shit? No way. Look, the translation now is coming different.
Your companion teaches you even defecation.
How he can do that? You know, the Dalai Lama, when he was escaping the Tibet, he was young, you know, but he have a problem. He is not going, you know, in the bathroom, like he cannot make it. So it's not coming out, and he have pain. So he sit in the middle, and those Buddha priests, they gather around him, like 200 of them, and they start like, you know, like, you know, they're praying, you know, for his shit to come out, and the shit is not coming, and no shit. The Chinese are following us, you know, they might kill us. Come on, do it faster. The Dalai Lama is trying, squeezing, keep squeezing, nothing working. Dalai, come on, you know, you're supposed to, you're God on earth. Come on, squeeze it, coming on, you know, you know, and then you have the area. I'm not sure, by the way, about the area. I just made it up, but I know that he have a problem with shit. So the Prophet of Allah, he teach Muslims how to do shit. Why? Before Islam did not know how to do shit. Hmm? This is the way of life. And why we have to use the right hand to clean our butt? Because hold on. Without our right hands, so what do? You have to use your left hand. Try it. How hard it is. Why we have to use the left hand to clean our butt? Because this is the hand of shaitan, brother. This is the hand of shaitan, brother. This is the manual of Allah. If you eat with the left hand, shaitan eat with you. Is that true? Any Muslim wanna prove me wrong? Do we have any Abdul? Hmm? Let me show you. We don't say things without proof, you know. They might say to you, oh, he's lying, you know, this is not true. Let me show you how all Islam is just superstition and stupid stories, and Muhammad is a mentally ill person copying legions from from people before him. All of this is superstitions of stupidity. Uh, like even they will send a fatwa, a question, can we hold the sandwich in our left hand? Haram, brother, haram. Haram, brother, don't do that. Never do that. Read with me, Allah. Islam is the way of life, and this is the duty of the Muslim, to use his left hand to clean his butt, not the right hand. And you will notice in 2 seconds that this is nothing but fairy tales, stupidity, superstition. People who believe in those things, they have mental illness. Who in the world want to believe in such a garbage? And as you see, all of this is authentic. All of this is authentic. They cannot say, oh, this is not true, this is not right, you know. When any of you eats, he should eat with his right hand. And when he drink, he should drink with his right hand. For the devil eats with his left hand and drink with his left hand. Hey Muslim, the devil is made of fire and he drink and he eat. And he is invisible. And he have shit inside him. But we cannot see his shit. So the shaitan, he take a Pepsi Cola. The second the Pepsi Cola go inside the shaitan, we cannot see the Pepsi Cola. That is really, really so good. Do we have any Muslim want to explain to us how shaitan is invisible? He's invisible. He can go through the wall. He can through the window. He can go inside your anus. I can show you the reference. Is that correct, Muslims? Shaitan, he can go through your anus. So what is this? So Islam is the way of life? Notice that all the Muslims who they are, like clapping for Zakir Naik, not even one of them dare to come and debate us.
The shaitan.
Listen carefully. Shaitan, he shit. Shaitan, he fart. Shaitan, he have sex with your wife. Shaitan, he wrap himself around your penis. Shaitan, he masturbate for you. Shaitan, he play with your butt. Shaitan, he sleep on your nose, he piss in your ears. All of this is the way of life in Islam. Watch this movie with me.
The shaitan, he not only runs, but the hadith says, lahu durat. You know what durat is?
What?
Durat is, he runs, and as he's running, yeah, his fart comes out.
Uh-oh.
Lahu durat. I'm not making this, it's a hadith.
It's a hadith. Don't laugh. Why you are laughing? This is Prophet Muhammad saying that. Show respect. Islam is the way of life. When you buy a machine, it comes with manual. Here we go. We have the manual of the farting shaitan. What's wrong with you? Where the smell is coming from? What the heck? Something is burning. Is that a Bernie Sanders fart? Or Kamala Harris, maybe, you know. You see, in order to understand, I don't know, like you see, many of you might laugh. Okay, you know what? Allah will punish you. Allah will punish you for doing that. Oh boy. It's hard to explain to you the situation. The only way to understand the situation is to listen to some philosophers. Like someone is very deep in philosophy. You know?
Tour of the library here, and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do.
See, in order to understand what Muhammad is talking about, you have to go back on time and understand that at that time people are so stupid and naive and they believe in all kind of garbage. So now shaitan, brother, is farting. Conspiracy theory. Why? Because the Muslims saying Allahu Akbar each time. Like the video here, cut the part where it's important actually, where he says that when you call for the prayer, shaitan starts farting.
So that shaitan made me do sin? Get up. Yeah, just get up. Just give the adhan. Right? That shaitan, you're gonna make him leak some serious gas. Serious gas. He won't be coming near you for some time. Now don't feel bad about, you're a human being end of the day. Serious brothers, sisters. You're a human being end of the day.
Brothers, sisters, come on, you're a human being. Don't feel about it. Don't feel about it. I mean, don't feel about it. There's a hadith that says, when a Muslim, he prays shaitan, he come from his back and he straight the hair of his anus. And then he put his foot in the anus of the Muslim and he straight it out and he pull it out. And he don't stop until he make you fart and he smell it and he hear it. Prophet of Allah. Why we need religion? How we can understand that shaitan is taking hair from our anus? Hey, Zakir Naik, I challenge you to prove that this hadith is true. Put your pen down and bend over. Let us see how many hair there. If you pray 5 times a day and shaitan, each time he take hair from it, you should be bald there. Do you have a bald anus? Can you put a slow recording camera behind the Muslims, any Muslim of your choice, and record? We cannot see shaitan because it's invisible, but we can see the hair, right? Get 8K camera with big screen TV and point at the anus of Abdul and record, and let us see how the shaitan take hair from your anus. That will be an amazing movie. Brother, do you see the hair is moving? Yeah, but maybe it's farting. No, hold on. It's moving out. Okay. Out? Where? Oh, see, look. No, this is his fart, the hair is still there. Let us count them. What do you want to count? I mean, this is Abdul. He have like 1 billion hair in his ass. Abdul are hairy. Pooter. So shaitan take care from your anus. And shaitan, he fart. And we need a manual to understand. Uh-huh. And what happened next? Continue the movie, brother.
He knocked you down once, you knock him down 3 times. And
Knock him down, knock him down. Yeah, this is a nice song.
listen to the ahadith, like you first, you know what the deen is about. The deen is
Listen, Zakir Naik, he says the manual in Islam is the deen. Do you remember? Zakir Naik, he said, this is the deen. Deen. Where he said the word deen, let me activate the CC. I know you guys, you don't like CC. Where is the deen? He mentioned the word deen. Hold on.
Why? Along with it, you get an instruction manual. Religion means believing in God. So why do we have to understand God? Is the meaning of religion. Religion, according to Oxford Dictionary, means a belief in a superhuman controlling power, a personal God or gods that deserve worship. In Islam, the Arabic word used is deen.
Stop. Do you see it? The Arabic used is deen. By the way, he didn't speak Arabic. This guy, he said, this is the deen. Did you hear it? So what is the deen? To learn about shaitan farting and playing with your anus, because soon he will tell you how shaitan play with your anus.
about. The deen is about getting the shaitan away from you. So you know, you go into the toilet, you know, Bismillahi Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubuthi wal khaba'is. So Allah protect me from these devils. You go in there with your left foot. The left foot you went in, you get a reward for that. The dua you said.
This is the deen. You have to enter the bathroom with the left foot. You enter with the right foot, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. Remember, anything you have to do with your ass have to be done by the left hand, left foot, left eye. Do we close the right eye when we go to the bathroom? We should not use it, right? Should we leave our right hand outside? So anything you have to do with shit, you have to use the left part of your body. Otherwise, you are committing a great sin against Allah. Haram. The second you enter the bathroom with the left foot, you get a reward. Allah, he opened the book. Okay, this guy, his name is Abdul bin Mohammed bin Hassan bin Ahmed bin Obama. Okay, but for him, 10 deeds in crypto, bitcoins. Okay, brother, for just entering with the left foot, we got deed? Really? That's an easy job. I will spend the day going in and out with the left foot. In and out, in and out. That's deep.
You go in there with your left foot. The left foot you went in, you get a reward for that. The dua you said, shaitan will not see you. You're in the toilet, shaitan can't see you anymore. That's in a hadith.
Listen, idiot, if you are a bank robber, don't do that. Don't think if you enter the bank with the left foot, nobody will see you. Trust me, everybody will see you. The second, you see the point of entering with the left, you know, and praying this prayer, you see the supplication, Allahumma jannibni shaitan wa jannib shaitan ma razaqtani. Asking Allah to protect you from shaitan and protect shaitan, protect your you know, whatever he have from shaitan. By saying that, you became invisible. That's it. Nobody can see you. Police cannot see you. Kamala Harris can see you, sorry. She's shaitan. No, actually, shaitan cannot see you. Listen carefully. This is the deen. This is the religion of Islam, brother. This is the manual. Prophet Muhammad, he brought us the manual.
Protect me from these devils. You go in there with your left foot. The left foot you went in, you get a reward for that. The dua you said, shaitan will not see you. You're in the toilet, shaitan can't see you anymore. That's in a hadith, right? If you don't say the dua,
please don't tell us. Please, I'm scared. I mean, come on, have mercy. People will sleep soon. What will happen if we don't say this supplication, this prayer, before we enter the bathroom? Is it something bad? Let me guess. It must be something very bad. Now we know what happened with the LGBTQ community.
Allah protect me from these devils. You go in there with your left foot. The left foot you went in, you get a reward for that. The dua you said, shaitan will not see you. You're in the toilet, shaitan can't see you anymore. That's in a hadith, right? If you don't say the dua, what happens is the shaitan not only comes inside, but the hadith of Tirmidhi says he plays with your bowels. He plays with your bowels. So you're inside there, you're thinking you're going to be out there in 5 minutes. He's taking you 20 minutes and you're still not halfway there. You know why? Because shaitan is going, ooh, like that.
So, do you understand now why we need religion of Islam? Do you know that your butt is at risk? Do you know why your mother-in-law, she go in the bathroom, she is not getting out for 10 hours? Do you know why women, they stay in the bathroom for 20 hours? And when you go in the airport, the bathroom of the men is empty. There's nobody there. Nobody. Like, you go there, like there's 1, 2, maybe 3. You go to the bathroom of the women in the airport, you see a long line. Hey, Abdul, this is not because shaitan playing with your butt, but because they are doing makeup. They are not going to the bathroom to do poo-poo. Abdul, listen. Seriously. How come this is not happening to the Christian and the Hindus and the Buddhists and the atheists? They go to the bathroom fine. Do you think this is happening only against the Muslims? Huh? So shaitan, he is targeting the anus of Muslims only. Conspiracy theory. Do you think this is involve the election, you know, like Joe Biden and stuff, you know? What do you think? So you go inside the bathroom and you are a Muslim, believe in Allah and His Prophet. Shaitan is waiting for you in the bathroom. Shaitan saying, I hope he will not enter with left foot. Please, 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 let me text him in the phone so he will be busy, forget. And boom, you enter with the right foot. He got you. And now he is inside your butt, inside your anus, and he is blocking it. And you are enjoying it, aren't you? Listen, listen, this is serious stuff, you know? This is not a joke. The Prophet say, you guys are laughing, what's wrong with you? You will become invisible. Look at this face. Do this face look like someone is stupid? I mean, come on, seriously.
Protect me from these devils. You go in there with your left foot. The left foot you went in, you get a reward for that. The dua you said, shaitan will not see you. You're in the toilet, shaitan can't see you anymore. That's in a hadith, right? If you don't say the dua, what happens is the shaitan not only comes inside, but the hadith of Tirmidhi says he plays with your bowels. He plays with your bowels. So you're inside there, you're thinking you're going to be out there in 5 minutes. He's taking you 20 minutes and you're still not halfway there. You know why? Because shaitan is going, ooh, like that. See, the hadith told you, the hadith says to us.
The hadith, which Muhammad said, Prophet Muhammad, don't laugh. Why you are laughing at, are you laughing at Prophet Muhammad? Even the Muslim, they could not hold themselves from laughing at the stupidity. The hadith, he's trying to strengthen his speech, like, it's not me saying that, you idiot. Why you are laughing? This is the Prophet saying that. Shut up. It's true. Scientifically proven to be true.
He plays with your bowels. Yal'abu, he plays with your bowels. So you say the dua, Allah protects you. Right? You come out of the toilet, ghufranak, Allah forgive me, you get reward.
Now you are going to leave the toilet. You have to say something. You have to say this. Do you know why Muhammad, he made all those stories up for them? So he want to keep them busy. They will not think about him that to be a false prophet. So now the Muslim is busy all day how he can obey rules, and those rules are just stupid rules. So he will not think about what this guy is talking about. What God? Who's this God? Who's this God who teach? So he put handcuffs in their mind. So he cuffed them. He tied them up with rules. So they will spend the whole day, have no time to think or to read and to educate themselves. We have a Muslim. You are a Muslim, you call yourself sexy Muslim? Seriously? Okay. Let us see. Go ahead. Yeah, maybe a troll. Do we have any Muslim? How to join to call? You have to call us in Discord, Fazil. Are you a Muslim, Fazil? We are taking calls only from Muslims. So if you are a Muslim, you are welcome. Maybe the admin, they can give you the link. Any Muhammadan would like to join us? What is the duty of a Muslim and what is Islam? Who want to join us and tell us? For me, I could not find anything good about Islam. Prove me wrong. Anything. Nothing about so-called Islam can be accepted by any human being. Anyone? And you are welcome to, give us the reference to prove us wrong. No problem. Here we have, we don't do like those debate, like 5 minutes for you, 5 minutes. Here, real debate. I will not even debate you because, I'm not a Muslim. I don't know much about Islam. It's you who knows. We Christian, we know nothing about Islam. Hmm? Who want to help me to convert to Islam? So I can climb in the top of a taxi in the street of New York and pray in the top of the taxi so everybody can see me like a goat. Anyone? Not a single one? I'm very disappointed. The only one who called me is Zakir Naik. That's why I have respect to him. The only one is really a hero between Muslims. Hold on, I have a caller. Hello? Hello? Your sound is weak. Listen, Prince, I'm speaking to you from Bangladesh. This is why the sound is not clear. Zakir Naik, it's okay, Bangladesh. And who cares? What do you want to say, Zakir? I want to say thank you for saying I'm a hero. I record it. I'm going to put it in my book in my community. And I'm going to sell it online. You will sell that online? Zakir, if I say like more time hero, can we make it 50-50? I mean, the profit. Good Prince, it doesn't matter. It's recorded. It's too late. Why I want to share with you my profit if I get it already? Zakir, I was joking, man. You will never dare to call me. Do you remember when we came to your channel and you coward almost have a heart attack? Good Prince, first of all, I swear by Allah, I did not see your name. I saw you only texting. Look, you just said you did not see my name, but you saw me texting. That means you saw my name. Exactly. Abdul. So why you did not take me to call you? Good Prince, I told you I did not see your name. Look, Abdul, you just said you saw my text saying to you, I want to debate you. Exactly. I was seeing your text, but did not see your name. So how you know it's me? Every Muslim is so smart. You cannot debate Muslims. They are genius. Genius. Even the word genie is coming from Muslims. Hey, Muslims, anyone want to tell us what is a genie? I heard that there was a genie, his name is Afrit. And this Afrit, his job is to steal furniture. Afrit? Afrit. وقال عفريت من الجن أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك يا عبدول. A very Afrit. Afrit, he said. Okay, hold on. You want the chair? He said to Solomon. Solomon, he liked to steal furniture, He's very well known in the police station. All furniture Anyone, his furniture is missing, go check the house of Solomon. So the bird, look how the story is so good, man. The bird, the hudhud, he told him, I found a woman, she have no hair in her legs. You know, in the Middle East, it's impossible. Women have no hair in their legs. I mean, what? No way. Suleiman like, what? No way. She have no hair in her legs? You must be kidding me. And she have a very nice chair. Now, the second Suleiman, he heard about the chair, he forgot about the legs. So now, after he described for him the chair, Suleiman, he want to get the chair. So he said, who of you can steal her chair? Look how decent Suleiman. Prophet of Allah. Even Suleiman, when he's a Muslim, he's a thief. Who can go and get me? Hey, Suleiman, according to Islam, you can take the chair of somebody because you like it. Yeah, Prophet Muhammad did that too. He took the chair, he took the women, he took everybody. So who can get me her chair? Hmm? A strong afreed from the jinn. He said, me. Beautiful story. All right, we have Fazil. He's a Muslim. Go ahead, Fazil.
Okay, can you hear me? Am I audible?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. You were telling this story doesn't make sense, but all the stories in the Bible make sense. Like the donkey speaking.
All right.
That make perfectly sense, but
Okay.
this do not
Okay.
make any sense.
One by one. First of
What a
all,
wonderful logic.
hold on. In the Bible, it doesn't say the hold on. You're lying. In the Bible, it doesn't say that the donkey is speaking. It says that God, He put the word in the mouth of the donkey. It's not the donkey, which means it appeared to come from the mouth. Why you are making things up? However, I want you to
Oh, it
say,
doesn't say that.
hold
Go
on,
to the
hold on.
verse.
I want you
Go
to
to the
say
verse.
before
Go to the verse.
before we discuss this, I want you to say that anyone believe that donkeys speak is stupid. Say that. Say it. Go ahead.
That's what I said. Your Bible said donkey can speak.
No
Your
problem.
Bible says
You
the
see,
holy the prophet.
we will discuss it. We will discuss it. I want you to say,
Okay.
does it make sense? Does it make sense to you that the donkey speak? Say it is a stupid or a smart. Go ahead.
My point is, if God can
No,
make
no,
things
I
true,
want to know your
God can
point.
make it.
No, no, I'm asking
My
you.
point is,
I will go to your point. I'm asking you, is it stupid or smart to believe in such a thing?
because according to your logic, it is so stupid.
No,
That's what I'm telling.
I
So
want, I want you,
you're telling.
I want your logic. I want your logic. I want your logic. Is it stupid or smart to believe in such a thing?
God, if God can wish something, God can do it. That's my
Okay,
logic.
no
If
problem.
God can make it do, He can do it.
But you lied because in the Bible it doesn't say that the donkey is speaking. It says God, He put the word in the. It's not the donkey is talking. This is God. The angel, when he warned the
Okay.
prophet, he made the sound coming from the donkey. What's why you are lying? I have a hadith where you're a prophet. You're a prophet. He talked to the donkey and he asked him, "Do you like females?" He said, "No." He's a gay. Is that true?
Okay, so according to your logic, your Bible doesn't say that. Go to the verse.
No. You give me the verse. Here we go. Read it.
Okay.
Read it. Read it. I challenge you.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
How many logical stories are there?
No,
The
listen,
David,
listen. Don't change
holy
topic.
prophet.
Don't change topic. First of all, listen. I am showing you your Quran, and look what you do. You run away. You say this is a logical story in the Bible too. So are you saying to me now that Islam is stupid, the same as the Christian are stupid? Are you saying that? Say yes.
I'm telling, according to your logic, your Bible is stupid. That's what I'm telling.
This is not my. This is, hold on. Yes, I just answer you. The verse you are quoting, you are lying. It's not the donkey is talking. God, he put the word in the mouth of the donkey. Donkey don't talk. You're making things up.
Okay, let me go to the verse. Okay.
All right.
This is what said. Okay.
Read. Read.
2:21. Okay.
Hmm. Well, why is taking you long?
here.
What?
Don't. What I have done to you, make you beat me these 3 times. So Lord opened the donkey's mouth and said to the Balaam, what I
See?
have done to you, make you beat these times. The
See?
Balaam answered the donkey.
See?
So
So,
donkey is speaking there.
so who
Who's
is the
telling that? Who's
no,
telling that?
no, you did lie. Who is the one who opened the donkey mouth? Is it the donkey?
That's
Is
what.
it the
Okay.
donkey?
Okay.
Is it the donkey, or God is the one who made the sound coming from the donkey? He opened his mouth. He forced him to make a movement, and the sound come. And the guy he's looking, there's nobody except the donkey. So is the donkey is talking to
Okay.
him, but it's not the
Okay.
donkey. Now I am going to ask you the same
Okay.
question. Hold on. Your prophet said,
Mm,
speaking to a donkey, his name is
mm,
Jafor. Hmm?
mm.
Donkey, his name is Jafor. He asked him, do you like females? The donkey, he said yes. Sorry, he said no. What the point of that
Okay.
story?
Same thing here. What is the point of Balaam's story? Why God making such a stupid thing?
The story is very simple. God is warning this man. He's warning him.
He can warn through the angel. Why is donkey speak? And he send revelation. What is
Because
the point of donkey
there's
speak?
only him and the donkey. There's nobody there.
So okay, that angel come and say the
No,
angel can.
no, I'm asking you.
Balaam is a prophet.
I gave you the answer.
He can send revelation.
I gave you the answer about the verse you
That's,
chosen. So now, can you give me?
according to
Listen.
okay, that's what
Be honest with me. Be honest with me. I gave you the answer. You don't accept it. It's up to you. You accept it. It's up to you. I'm asking you now.
according. No,
When you're a prophet, he
I'm asking.
spoke. When you're a prophet, he spoke to the donkey, asking him, "Do you like females?" What was the point of that speech?
Okay, first of all, I need to go this story, but let me focus on this one without jumping somewhere.
No,
So
we did
here,
not. We
donkey
did,
giving
no,
revelation to a prophet.
no. Listen, you cannot
Donkey
say
giving revelation to a prophet.
you cannot say to me, "I do not know the story." I can show it to you if you do not know it. No
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, without jumping that one, now tell me what is the point of the Balaam story? So
I
you're
told
telling
you.
donkey is angel
I
now.
told you. I
What
told
is the
you.
point?
I just told you.
Okay, wow, that's a stupid logic. If God need to send the revelation, he can use an angel. Why?
Listen.
Why is donkey is a messenger?
You are trying.
Donkey is a messenger.
Listen, you are
Donkey is
trying
a messenger
to
for you.
avoid the
This is your
embarrassment.
logic.
You are trying to avoid the embarrassment. I told you the answer. You don't want it. It's up to you. So now, why your prophet asked the donkey if you like females?
Okay, I'm telling. So it is up to me. This thing you are accepting your logic is stupid logic. If God needs something, he can send an angel. Why
Listen,
he
this is
sending the
not.
other donkey?
I'm not
Donkey is a
asking you.
prophet now.
Listen, don't tell me God. This is Muhammad. Is Muhammad is God?
See, no. I'm not. I'm talking about the Bible story.
I
Here,
told you.
donkey is speaking. That is perfectly
I
makes sense.
told you. I told you why. You keep repeating the same. I'm asking you now. Why Muhammad is asking the donkey if you like females? What was the purpose?
First of all, okay. Now you did not answer. I'm asking instead of sending an angel, why God is using a donkey? That is my what I'm asking. Answer
God,
that one.
and
Why
you
he is using an angel? Why he is using
listen.
a donkey without an angel?
God in the Quran, He spoke from the tree. Why you don't ask God why He is using a tree?
He's using as a medium.
What?
Right? He's using the tree as a medium. We don't say tree speak.
So hold
Speech
on.
came from the tree.
Hold on. So now, do you say that God should use an angel or He should use a tree? Which one is more better for Allah?
Because whatever he can do, he can do it.
No,
Right?
I'm asking you
He's
why.
rich.
You said to me why God in the Bible don't choose an angel to speak to this man? Why He use a donkey? I'm asking you the same question using your logic. Why Allah choose a tree to speak to Moses?
No, tree did not speak. Speech came from the tree. Do not
Yes.
say tree
Okay.
spoke.
So was Allah in the tree?
Speech,
Was Allah in the tree?
no, the speech came from the tree. If the speech is coming, as an example, if you are speaking, I'm speaking via phone, mobile phone. Any stupid would say phone is speaking. Phone is a medium. In the same way, tree is a medium to speak. Okay.
And
If the sound is coming from the phone, do
I
you
don't
say
understand.
phone is speak?
I don't understand what you are saying.
Is that your logic?
Why Allah?
Is
Why
that your
Allah?
logic?
Why Allah prophet? Do Allah prophet knew the language of the donkeys? Do Muhammad knew the language of the donkeys?
He can understand. If God wishes, he can understand. That's
Where
the
is
point.
where it says that Allah, he taught Muhammad the language of the donkeys.
I did not say he can understand that one. I'm telling.
So how he
Okay, if
spoke?
God wished something.
So how he spoke to the donkey? The donkey here did not speak to him the language of the donkeys. He spoke to Balaam in his language. So now I'm asking you, Muhammad, he asked the donkey speaking to him in which language? Hebrew, Arabic, or donkey language?
Okay, show me the story. I need to see the story first. I have not seen the story.
You never heard it?
Yeah, show me.
What?
I never heard that story. Show me the story. Show me the reference.
All right. I will give you the link. Here we go. This
You
is
can
the
show it
story.
right in your screen.
This is the story.
Okay, let me check
All right.
the story authentic.
All right. Do you see my screen?
No, okay, still I cannot see the okay.
Do you see my screen?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. This is Fath al-Bari Sahih al-Bukhari. It says that Muhammad was with the donkey.
Give me okay, first of all, I don't understand Arabic. Give me the English version or give me the hadith number. I can go and see.
No problem. I can show you. Hold on. Let me show you. Let me look for the reference in English.
Okay.
And this is in Ibn Kathir. Prophet Muhammad is speaking to donkey. Ibn Kathir. Let us see. I mean, here, just Muhammad asking him if he liked females. So I don't know what the point and how Muhammad was able to speak the language of the donkeys.
Give me the authentic source. These are fabricated. There's so many fabrication. We accept that these are fabricated.
So are you saying to me? Are you saying to me Islamic religion full of corruption and this is fabricated story?
Man, in Christianity, don't you have fabricated story?
No.
Jesus killing his teacher in the Bible.
Hold on. Hold on.
Gospel of Thomas. How many
will not
fabrication
find,
you have?
listen. When you say in Christianity you find the fabricated stories, that means the Christian, they say that this story is fabricated. No Christian will say a story in the Bible is fabricated. It's you Muslims who say in your Muslim books it's fabricated stories. It's not us. It is you. You just told me that yourself. You just told me that yourself, right? Who is the one? Listen, who is the one who just said, if this is not a fabricated story? You said that.
Yeah, I told you that there are some fabricated story in the Hadith and literature. So we accept that is a fabrication, same as in the Christian books.
No,
in Christian, even your Bible, don't find somewhere. You say it is a fabrication.
No, we don't have any Christianity, any Christian there to say that the Bible is fabricated. We don't accept that. No Christian will say that. And here we go. It says here, let's see.
That is a fabrication story. That is a lie.
The story of Yafur. Let's see. The story of Yafur.
Now you jump somewhere. You're jumping now. Jumping now. So that is a fabrication story. All the scholars say that is a fabrication.
How you know the fabrication if you don't even know the story yet?
I just checked that one. That's a fabrication.
Okay, I challenge you. I challenge you to give me the reference for the story if you check it already. Give me the reference.
There's a link.
Give me the reference.
Okay. First of all, you give me the authentic version. You don't give me the authentic version.
You don't even know where the story is located, and you right away you say it's fabricated because you're trying to escape the embarrassment. Do you know even where this story located? Do you know where the story located? No.
It is in the commentary books. That is in authentic hadith. That is in commentary books.
Give me the reference.
If it is something authenticated, you have to give the reference.
You just say
if something is not there,
apologize and admit your line. You said you just found it and it says it's fabricated. Give me the reference.
I'm telling, I just found in the website which says
Which
there was such a
website? Give me the
story.
reference.
It
You
was
see, you find the website. What is that? A pharmacy? Give me the reference. What the book number? What the book name? It says this is fabricated story. Huh?
man, I told you that do not say that link or something. That say that is a fabrication story.
This
That
is
link do
not.
not say
This
anything.
is the. We
It's
cannot. I can say it's fabricated. You take anyone say anything about your religion, or you check it out first.
use your common sense. If you say
You know
something
what? You know
authentic,
what?
you are the one need to give evidence.
Just to show everybody that you are making things up. Give me the link. I will put it on the screen. You are making things up. Give me the link.
You know,
Give me the
this is
link.
okay.
Give me the
It,
link of the website you have in the front of you.
and okay, it's Islamic Stack Exchange.
Give me
It,
the link. I will put it here.
okay. Where's the chat?
Post in the chat.
I cannot. Where's the chat? In
What?
the YouTube, I have to say in the YouTube link.
The chat here in Discord.
Discord, where's the chat, man? Let me share in the YouTube. Okay, let me share in the YouTube. You can get it. Okay, I found the chat. Go to the link.
All right. I have the link. You are posting for me a comment? Somebody make a comment and say this is not true? A comment.
Hey, that's a comment. It references the scholars
You are
who said that.
posting for me a
Open it,
comment.
man.
You are posting for me a comment about it. Okay, hold on. So, are you saying to me, I want you to say the truth. Are you saying that we Muslims, we have tons of false stories about Muhammad and we fabricate stories? Say that.
Yeah, false people fabricate stories. Yes, we everybody knows that one. If it's a common sense, how many fabricated stories we have in Islam? How many we say Laib, Sahih?
Okay, so do
authenticate
Islam,
things. We don't accept everything.
okay, let us make it simple. So if there is any true story in Islam about an animal speaking to a prophet, true story.
It could be. Yes,
No,
I don't deny that. Could
don't
be.
tell me it could be. Tell me yes or no.
I think it could be. It could be means a possibility. Yes. We don't have any problem with that one. We don't say it's a stupid logic.
All right. So listen.
Because God can make things happen.
I'm going to show you something from the Quran so you cannot play games, because simply this is what the Muslims they do. We show them a hadith, they say the da'if. We show them the Quran. Are you going to say the da'if? You cannot, right? Is the Quran da'if?
We don't say.
Huh?
No, we don't say that. Yeah.
All right.
No, we don't say that.
What?
Go ahead. Yes.
All right. So in the Quran, it says that Allah, the Prophet Solomon, he spoke to the ant.
He did not say spoke with the ant. He was able to understand ant. That's the difference. He was able to understand the language of an ant.
Are you sure?
So God can make that happen. God can make that happen.
No, so he did. So no, hold on. One by one. First of all, by the way, you are welcome here. I always welcome Muslims who don't shout, and that's good. So listen, you said Allah make him understand the ant. Did he speak to the ant? Yes or no?
And speak with another ant.
No.
Solomon was able to listen. He can understand
so,
that.
my friend, why you don't answer? Did he speak to the ant? Yes or no? Did they exchange a speech? Yes or no?
No, Solomon and ant did not exchange speech. Solomon was able to understand the speech of ant.
So are you saying to me?
Go to the verse.
So I want you to say, if somebody says that Sulaiman speak to the ant and the ant spoke to Sulaiman, he's lying, correct?
He was able to understand. That is the perfect explanation.
I have a da'if hadith saying that Sulaiman, he spoke to the ant and the ant spoke to him. So what do you say?
First go to the Quran first. You said let's focus on Quran. Let's see what Quran says.
Give me the answer about the hadith, and then we'll go to the Quran. I want to see your stand. So the hadith says that Sulaiman spoke to the ant, and the ant, she answered him, and they exchanged conversation. Is this hadith stupid, should not accept, or it is valid?
No, I don't say that. I don't say that. If the hadith say that one, if it is authentic, I have no issue. God can make that happen.
I said that.
God can.
I said this is da'if. I said da'if.
I don't know. I don't know. I need to check that. I don't need to comment. Right? If
So,
you ask me something I
so,
don't know, I need to go and check. You have to give me time to check. Let's. Now you said
according to science,
don't change the words.
you said that Suleiman, he understood the ant, but the ants are deaf and they are mute. How he understand the ant?
Because ant, man, as an example, ant are communication via vibration. So even today, scientists understand the language of so many animals. They don't speak. They speak like vibration or some communication media. So understand mean in any way. It do not have to be speak.
Listen,
Understand
listen,
different ways. One will
listen.
understand. Like as an example, dolphins via vibration.
Listen, scientists don't understand the language of the ants because simply ants don't talk. They have a communication very simple, either vibration or it is chemical. They are deaf and they are mute. Your Quran says, and I'm showing you the screen, chapter 27, verse number 18, that one of the ants she said to the other ant. And Suleiman,
Other ants.
and
And communication.
huh?
It's a communication. So what's the issue?
But no, in Arabic,
Communicating to another ant.
listen, I don't speak Arabic. You should know Arabic. You are a Muslim. I'm not a Muslim. It says that the ant said.
Yes, it's talking about communication. Don't take it too much literally. It is talking about and it's
Did,
communicating.
did Allah
Well,
say?
do not need to say that's a vibration.
Did Allah say communicate or He said?
And said referring to the communication.
All
Don't
right.
you? We don't take the some as an example. Jesus
All
said,
right. Let
"If
us
you eat me,
let
you
us
will
go.
go to heaven." That
Let
means
us.
Jesus is food.
All
Jesus
right.
said, "If you believe me, you will not die." That
Okay.
is that's mean it's still your belief in Jesus.
Okay.
Some
So
people
listen.
have died.
Listen.
Dead.
What?
Don't take it
Easy.
literal.
Don't speak
Don't be
fast. Don't.
stupid.
It's not up to you. It's not up to you. Because now, if I ask you, can you show me the reference of the interpretation? You will see all Muslims they agree that the ant spoke. You are making things up.
Spoke okay, man. And spoke do not have to be in the same way. And spoke it can be via the vibration. That is
Can you read the verse for me so we can clear the misunderstanding, if you don't mind?
what do I have to do? What do I have to clear? Because I'm telling he spoke
Can
referring to the
you
communication and
read,
spoke.
my friend, listen. Can you read the verse for me so we can clear the misunderstanding? Go ahead. Chapter 27, verse number 18.
Well, I don't see the chapter 27 in your. I don't know, man. Your stupid logic. I don't really understand CP. What you're speaking. I'm telling here.
Hey guys,
This is my point. Okay, I'm telling.
he is calling me
When God is
stupid. He
telling
is
and
calling me.
spoke, it is talking about.
Did I
Right.
call you stupid? Did I call you stupid? Why are you are calling names? All what I said to you, read the verse for us so we can make it clear. The ant in the verse it says, one of the ants she said, and then Suleiman, he spoke to her. You said to me, no. Read Suleiman, verse number 19 says, Suleiman, he smiled, amused by her speech. It's a speech. And then he said, my
Nice.
Lord, inspire, bestow it upon me. All right?
That means Sulaiman
Uh-huh.
is able to understand and is speaking to another ant.
Okay.
Sulaiman was able to
Is
understand. So
is that
this
is
is the
that
big
is
problem for you.
okay?
When he is speaking is not an issue for you.
Hold
That's
on.
what I'm asking.
Is the
When he
ant
is speaking is
is
not an issue.
is
This
the
is an
ant
issue for you.
is the ant is an insect or a bird?
It's an insect.
It's an insect.
How you are wasting time.
It's not a bird.
Oh, it's an insect.
Okay. So Allah, he said, Allah, he taught Suleiman the language of the birds. Only in verse number
Where only?
16. In verse number 16, Allah, he taught Suleiman the language of the birds. So how Allah taught him the language
Yes,
of the birds, and he is speaking to the ant, and the ant can understand the ants.
it didn't say he speak. He taught only the language of the
No,
birds.
it
He was
says
spoken with animal kingdom.
it says, and Suleiman inherited the knowledge of Dawood, and he said, "O mankind, we have been taught the language of the birds only." He did not say anything else.
Yeah.
So Allah
I say
taught him.
only. I say only.
Yes, he
I say
said.
only.
No, he said only because no. If there's more, if Allah taught him more, he will say more. Are you saying to me Suleiman is lying? Suleiman, he said what Allah taught him, the language of the birds. So Allah taught him the language of the birds. How he understand the ant when the ant even deaf and mute? They cannot even have. They cannot hear the ant. How Suleiman can understand the ant if he cannot hear her?
And vibration do not have to be here, right? Vibration, even today, scientists understand dolphin. How they understand? Okay, even
listen,
in
listen,
house,
listen.
this is
Hold
your
on.
case.
First of all, the story here
Everything
about
happened.
Suleiman was flying in the flying carpet, thousands of miles
It is
away in the sky. How he was able to hear the speech of the ant? It says in front of you, Suleiman, he heard her speech. And Allah taught Suleiman the language of the birds. But yet Suleiman, he can
yes.
hear the speech of the ant when the ant is mute and deaf. She cannot hear
First
him,
of all,
he cannot hear her because simply she don't talk. She is a mute. So here it says he amused with her speech. Do you say speech, the word speech in the Quran?
okay. First of all, let me answer that one. First of all, it did not say he taught him only the language of ants. It is simply making a statement. It didn't
Open.
say only the language of ants.
Okay,
It's not
show
mentioned.
me. Okay,
Something is not
in the front,
mentioned.
of everybody. In the front of everybody, show me the Islamic scholar say Allah taught him all the languages, and then you will be my hero. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I can go and say that one. I cannot do it within 1 or 2 minutes. The point is, it
No, 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 no.
did
You see
not
here,
say he taught him only the language.
Fazil. Here, you don't say to me, I cannot do it. I need to go and search it. Here, you get me busted. I will give you time. We have time. Fight it. You are lying.
Okay,
I accuse you
okay,
in front of everybody that you are making things up. I gave you the story of the donkey. It's you who opened the story of the donkey. So now we went to the donkey. Then you said to me it's fabricated. It's the one is fabricated. Now you are the one is fabricating story. Now show me where in the Muslim books, in the Quran, or even from your prophet saying that Suleiman, he spoke to all animals. Go ahead.
and what we can understand from the Quran, he was able to speak with the birds and he was
This,
able to speak with the ant. So
but
that's two things. Then we can understand he was able to understand the birds and the ant.
no, he
Those
cannot.
two things we can understand.
Hold
That is
on.
a common sense.
He mentioned that
Common sense.
Allah taught him the language of the birds. He never say Allah taught me the language of the ants. Did he? Show me if he said that.
Okay, now it's a common sense. If the
Common sense.
Solomon was able to understand the ant, then
See,
he should
guys,
be able to understand that one.
when you
See?
call me,
Now,
you spoke about logic. Now you are saying it's common sense. So I go to the school to learn German, and then I end speaking Russian. And you said to me, this is common sense. Suleiman, he entered the classroom to learn the language of the birds. So how the common sense of your majesty, he is understanding the ants.
okay, look at like here. Okay, now here, one Quran says he was able to understand the language of the birds. Another verse say he spoke with an ant. So that is what from that one what we can understand. He understand the language of the birds and he understand the language of the ants.
Where it says he
That is a
understand
common sense.
where
It is
so
illogical.
hold
Okay,
on.
no, it is.
No,
Let
no,
me
you
finish.
see,
Let me finish. Then you can go.
obviously you're the one who wrote the Quran. He think that the ant is a bird.
Man, use your common sense. Let me finish what I'm telling. Then you can reply. I'm telling.
Okay,
See,
hold
see,
on. Okay,
see.
hold on. So
Hold
now,
on. Okay, now.
what was the point?
Let,
What was the point of this conversation between Suleiman and the birds?
let me. Yeah.
One by one. Suleiman, he spoke to the birds. What he said to the birds and what the bird says to him. Tell me.
Okay, now let me give you a simple example. Okay, if I say Donald Trump study Russian, and another statement say Donald Trump speak with German ambassador in German. So from that one, what we can understand, Donald Trump knows German, Donald Trump knows Russian.
First of
The
all,
same way,
first of all, first of all, first of all.
it is a
Okay,
contradiction. If it is
so
a contradiction, let me finish, man. You don't never let me speak.
you
Let
are
me finish,
mixing
then you can.
between. Listen. When Allah he speak Arabic, is his Arabic is strong or his Arabic is weak?
Man, see. Now you jump.
No, I'm
Let me
not. I'm
finish,
not.
then you can
No, I'm
reply.
not. In here in Arabic it says min qawliha. Here is speech. You can search right now and you can find that ants are mute and they
Man,
are deaf.
see,
So how the ant she made a speech? Go ahead.
okay. Now as okay. Now you are asking something else. So first confusion is okay. Now second you ask me, I'm telling here is speech. We don't take it as literal. As an example, in any book, whether it is a Bible or whether it's a Quran, we have some words. We don't take it literal. As an example, Jesus said, "If you believe in me, you will not die." So here, death doesn't mean actual dying. It is mean salvation. We
No.
don't take it literal meaning.
No,
Jesus said, I am the food coming from heaven.
no, you are wrong.
So
We
that,
take
that food doesn't mean salvation.
we take it
So you don't
literally.
take it
No,
literally.
don't explain the Bible for me. We take it literally. Yes, we will not die because the death of the flesh is not the death. The death of the spirit is the Jesus said, don't be afraid of the one who destroy your flesh, but the one who destroy your soul. So you will not die, which means you will be with me forever. So death is the death of the flesh, but we are going to be with Jesus. But don't mix things up. So now I'm asking you.
Oh, okay.
You said to me, you said to me, you said we don't understand it literally. Can you give me the reference? Is Ibn Kathir, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Jalalain, Al-Tabari, any one of them understood it literally or not?
That verse?
Yes.
They understood. They simply said that is a communication. Right? They understand that is a communication between ant and Sulaiman.
Give me the answer.
They did not think beyond that.
Did they understood that this is speech happened literally? Yes or not?
I'm not sure what they're talking about. They're asking that's a communication. They understand that it's a communication that is true.
How you can debate somebody? He keeps saying to me, I'm not sure. So you escape the embarrassment by saying, I'm not sure. Can you be sure?
No, I'm telling you. First of all, you don't answer anything what I said. You are telling.
Listen, I'm asking you. Can you give me the reference?
No.
Can you give me which
now
interpretation you accept for the verse?
What? No, first of all, you tell me
which interpretation you accept for the verse.
Okay, no. First of all, okay. First of all, let's go to the Bible. You said when Jesus said, "I will not die."
Don't change. No, you cannot.
No.
A Muslim cannot explain. A Bible. A Muslim cannot explain to me. A Muslim, Abdul, cannot explain to me my book. I can explain to your book because the Quran says.
No.
Yes, the Quran says, if any Muslim have a doubt about Islam, you go to Christian Prince. You want me to show you? My book says, my book did not say, if you have no understanding of something, go and ask a Muslim. But your book is saying, if you have any doubt, even to Muhammad, about Islam, you come to Christian Prince. Is that true?
Okay,
no, you're trying to change the topic because you are in the corner.
No.
I'm asking you.
No, I'm not in the corner. I'm not in.
Which reference will say that this conversation that happened literally, the ant and Sulaiman spoke to each other? Which reference? I can open Ibn Kathir. Choose one. Al-Qurtubi, Al-Jalalain, Al-Tabari. Which one? Ibn Abbas. Choose one.
Okay. Now, first of all, I will answer that one. Before that, okay. Now, as an example, okay. Even if I agree with you, if God can speak the mouth of a donkey, in the same way, Allah can speak the mouth of an ant.
This is not what happened. Listen, here does not say Allah. Does not say Allah spoke. Does not say anyone else. It says Sulaiman and the ant. They have a conversation. So don't mix things up.
Yeah,
this is here. Listen.
Yeah, Sulaiman and the hell, but God can do that one. Yes, it is the majesty of God. If the God can open the mouth of a donkey, then you cannot say God cannot do it with the hand.
Okay. Hold on. Sulaiman. Okay, hold on. According to the story, Sulaiman, he have a minister, and this minister is a bird. Is that a true story? In the same story.
Okay, now I answer you the one. Now you ask me one thing.
No.
When Jesus said you will not die, that means you will not die.
We are talking about Sulaiman.
No, you cannot. You don't
change topic. Is it true that
you are jump into different topic now?
Sulaiman, he have an army, and this army contain genie and a human being and birds, and as you see, even cockroaches. Is it true?
Now you are talking about different language. Before that, let me ask you, when Jesus said you will not die, is it literal law?
Yeah, I answered you about that. I answered you. I said to you what Jesus meant. We will be with him. We will be with him. He promised us that we will be with him in his kingdom. So Jesus, and you mentioned the word salvation, which is good to say, because only Jesus can offer salvation. Your prophet can offer you only fairy tale stories. So now I'm asking you, is it true, the Quran story?
That's a metaphor then. That's a metaphor then. That's what I'm saying. It is a metaphor.
You are trying to escape the embarrassment. When we finish this, you can go to the Bible if you want, no problem. Is it true that
No. You will kick me
Suleiman,
out. You will kick me out.
is it true?
Jesus said,
Suleiman.
I'm the food coming from
So
heaven.
listen,
Jesus is the food.
why
Do you accept Jesus is the food coming
why
from
Allah
heaven?
taught Suleiman? According to you, Allah taught Suleiman the language of the birds, the language of the insect, the language of the ants, the cockroaches. Why Allah taught him that? Give me the answer.
God can do whatever he wish. As an example,
Okay,
why the Jesus was tempted by Satan?
look at
God tempted by
look at
Satan.
this answer. Look at this
God
answer.
tempted by Satan.
God you
That makes
do.
sense.
God
This
you
do not
do.
make sense.
This is
Why?
not.
Why Jesus was tempted by Satan?
This is a very funny
Why
answer.
Jesus was?
Listen,
Why Jesus was kidnapped by
first
Satan?
of all, I did not ask you what Allah. I did not ask you what Allah wish. I said what was the purpose of this story. So why Allah taught Suleiman the language of the birds and the cockroaches and all the animals according to you? Why he taught him that?
Yeah, that is God's majesty. God has given the power, so we can understand. So
No,
that means
you are lying.
how much power he has.
No. You see, I'm putting you in the corner
Okay, you say. Okay.
Because Allah He gave him an army, and this army contained all kind of animals. Is that correct?
Quran. I'm not sure whether it is in the Quran or
Is
not.
that an answer,
But I have to go and check.
Mister? Do you know how many times you said to me, "I'm not sure"?
Because if I say I'm not sure, I can go and check. I don't know whether you're making sense or not. Right? I need to go and double check whatever you say.
It take you 2
That's why I
seconds.
said.
It take you 2 seconds. You have the AI. Ask AI. Ask Mr. AI.
I need to go to the real reference.
Okay,
Now I'm
hold
asking.
on. I will do it for you. Hold
It's
on.
telling
You're trying to find an excuse. Let me show everybody. The Muslims
you
believe
answer
that
nothing.
Suleiman, he have an army contain animals. Can you count for me what contain in the army of Suleiman of animals?
So what is the problem with that, man? You think your Jesus was
Listen.
kidnapped by Satan?
Humans and
how stupid!
There's no mention of a sodomy army, continuous normal or religious.
See, so now if we go and check, we will find that Suleiman, Allah he gave him the power to control an army, and this army control birds and genie and a human and all kind of things. And you are keep saying to me, I do not know. This is not an answer. You are trying to escape the embarrassment. Can you give me the answer according to you as a Muslim? What the army of Suleiman contained of?
Do you think this is stupid? You believe that Jesus was kidnapped by Satan. That is not stupid. Look at the stupid
Listen.
logic.
I don't understand what you said about
Your
Jesus.
God can be
I
kidnapped
don't
by
understand what you said about Jesus, but I want to show everybody that you are trying to escape the embarrassment. This is your official government website from Qatar. It says here, what is the army of Suleiman? Let us read for you. Here we go. I'm going to translate into English, and don't tell me I do not know English, because simply you speak English to me already. So here we go. I am going. Hold on. Let me show the everybody. Hold on.
All the animals.
Do
What
you
is
see?
the
Do you
problem
see
with
my
that?
screen?
When
Do you
your
see my
God was
screen? Do you
kidnapped
see
by
my
Satan.
screen? Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen? All right.
You don't. So no, you don't. You don't answer anything.
The
I'm
army,
telling what is the
the
point.
army, the army
You
of
think this is
Suleiman, the
illogical?
army of Suleiman.
Your Lord can
Let
be
me talk.
kidnapped
Let
by
me talk.
Satan.
Let me talk. Don't no problem. You will not give me the answer. I will show you the answer from your books. Stop playing games. Hold on. Don't talk, please. Let me play the sound so everybody will hear it. This is your Islamic website, and this is the interpretation
In
of
the
At-Tabari.
amount of Solomon's soldiers, peace be upon him, he said, his camp was 100 Maximes in 100, 25 for the jinn, 25 for mankind, 25 for the bird, and 25 for the monster, and he had 1,000 homes of bottles on the wood in which 300 and 700 secrets.
So now the army of Suleiman is contained of what?
And go to authentic source. Don't go to random website.
This is At-Tabari.
Okay, I can go to the.
This is At-Tabari.
Okay, it has to be authentic. It has to be
So
Quran or it has to be authentic Hadith.
are you saying to me, you Muslims and your Islamic scholars, they give lies?
They recorded whatever they have. They themselves did not say don't
Hold on, hold on.
They recorded
Can
all
you
the
give me,
history. They
okay,
record all the
can
history.
you give
Can be
me,
authentic or non-authentic. How many
can
stupid
you give
story
me,
you have in the
guys,
Christianity?
anything I will give this guy, he will say to me, go to authentic sources. I'm asking you, okay, what is the authentic sources in Islam?
The Hadith and Quran. Authentic Hadith and Quran.
No
So
problem, no problem. In the Quran, it says that Suleiman now is speaking to the ants, speaking to the birds, and speaking to the genie. Are they in his army, yes or no?
yes, I think yes. They are in his army.
What?
They are in his army, okay. Because
Okay.
you don't move,
So
okay.
now Suleiman have an army of birds and genie and a human being. Finally, he agree. Now, what the birds will do in the army of Suleiman?
Okay, now that is illogical because that is illogical. I mean, what is the logic, man?
I'm
You don't
asking you,
understand
what
anything.
is the
I'm
duty?
telling.
What is the duty of those
Okay,
birds in the army of Suleiman?
they can do multiple. They can spy for him, Sulaiman.
They can spy.
Birds can.
Wonderful, guys. They can spy. They can spy. All right. So they can
They can
spy.
do so many things.
They can spy and they can find water. Is that true?
Whatever which they can do now,
All
you
right.
have to allocate some time for
So
Bible
now
too.
this
No,
bird.
you are
So
asking.
now
No, I am asking
hold
repeatedly.
on.
What is the point of your Lord kidnapped by Satan?
This bird.
You
So
don't
now
speak anything.
Suleiman, listen,
No, you don't even aspire to know
Suleiman,
about
he was
Bible.
a Suleiman. He did check his army of the birds. He found one bird is missing. Do you know what the name of the bird?
See, now what is the point of your speaking? Now
I'm asking you.
explain the
How
biggest book
Suleiman
in
he
your
have an
Bible.
army?
What is
Suleiman he have an army of birds. Can you imagine how many billion birds there is? How he was able to find that there is one bird is missing?
and your man? First of all, you have to understand if God wishes something, He can do anything He needs. So if Sulaiman can do something, that doesn't mean that is impossible.
who can
Man,
do that?
your Lord was kidnapped by
Who
Satan.
can do
It
that?
is
And
completely logical.
listen, and
Your Lord was your Lord
and this
kidnapped by
bird,
Satan. That is
because he is
completely makes
missing.
sense. You
Listen,
don't speak anything. You don't even answer. You simply bury what I'm telling. You don't even answer. Your Lord kidnapped by Satan completely makes sense. This doesn't make sense. I'm
yes,
wondering how what an intelligent human are you?
I don't
This
understand.
doesn't make sense. But your Lord can be kidnapped by Satan. Wonderful.
My
Wow.
Lord can do what?
Your Jesus was kidnapped by Satan, right?
He did what?
He was kidnapped by Satan.
He
He was
he
tempted.
was kidnapped by Satan. This is what the Bible said.
Yeah.
Show me. You see,
That he took
you
him.
are just a hypocrite trying to change the topic. Jesus been shown by
Okay.
Satan all the kingdoms, and this is about the ability of Satan to do things, not about getting him literally from place to place. However, I can show you that
Who
Shaitan.
took?
Hold on.
No, no, no,
I can show you that the
no,
Shaitan you are
no, no,
talking
no, no,
about.
no. You don't
Hold on.
answer.
Listen, you mentioned the
Question.
story. Who is the one who sent Shaitan to Jesus?
Hmm?
Who is the
No,
one? Who is the one?
we don't
Who is
believe
the
that story.
one? Answer me. Who is the one who sent that Shaitan to Jesus?
Before that, answer me. I'm
I
asking,
answered you.
did was Jesus tempted by Satan?
Hold on.
Was
Listen.
he
Don't
tempted by
be
Satan?
silly. You
Was he
see.
tempted by
You
Satan?
see. When I speak to
See,
a
go to
Muslim,
the verse. Go to the verse.
hold on. When you speak to a Muslim,
Go to the verse.
I show them the reference from their books. I don't give them my own opinion, and you run away. When you speak to me about the Bible, does any Christian agree that Jesus was kidnapped by Satan? No, you're making things up. So look
That's
at
what
the
your Bible says.
hypocrisy. No, listen.
That's your Bible
It's
says.
not. No, it's not
That's your
up to
Bible
you.
says.
No, this is not what my Bible say. You are lying. So when Satan,
Go to
he
the
showed
verse.
him all the
Go to
kingdom.
the verse.
Okay, can you show me where it says the word kingdom? Go kidnap. Go ahead.
Okay, go to the verse. Go to the verse.
Show me.
Go to the temptation of
You
Jesus.
mentioned the verse. Show it to where it says kidnap. I will go with you.
How can I?
Either you
Okay,
apologize
how can I?
for being a liar, Abdul, or you show me where it says kidnapped by Satan. Go ahead.
Okay, how can I show it, man? Because you have the screen. Can I share it? Am I able to
Read the
share my
verse
screen?
for us. Post the link. Post the link. I will wait for you. Post the link.
Okay. Now, okay, this is simple. Okay, your Bible says Jesus was Satan took Jesus to the mountain. So I'm asking, Jesus went to the mountain
You said,
willingly or unwillingly? If
kidnap.
he did not,
You said kidnap. You said kidnap. So apologize for lying.
okay,
There's a huge difference between he
no,
took and he kidnapped. You are lying again.
yeah,
Apologize.
okay, okay. What is the definition of
If
kidnap? If
I
you
say,
kidnap something, if you
say,
take,
so I can show you now that Muhammad been
okay,
taken by shaitan. Are you willing to say that Muhammad was kidnapped too?
first of all, no, so don't jump. Okay, just focus on one point.
No,
Oh, you
what?
don't answer. You
So
don't
I
answer.
can show you. I can show. Not only that, I can show you literally that Shaitan they did ride your prophet. They sit on him all day night. Guys, is it true that there is a group of Shaitan? They are black and they rode Muhammad all night. Yes, he could not even run away. So the verse you quote for me, you lie. You said took is the same as kidnap. I take somebody to our dinner doesn't mean I kidnap them. In fact, that means he agreed to go with me. So when you say took,
No.
you are lying and
Okay,
you are fabricating. Now, as long you mention this, is it true that your prophet was kidnapped by a bunch of shaitan and they are black and they sit on him and they are naked? Yes or no?
okay. Now, first of all, what is the definition of kidnapping? Kidnap means if you take someone without his intent, without his intention, without his consent, that is a kidnap.
Where it
So if
says
Jesus,
without his intent? Where it says that? Where it says without his
okay,
intent?
okay, okay. So
Now
Jesus, Jesus went.
listen. Don't
Okay,
change topic.
man, you don't let me.
I roasted you. Here we go. I have the reference in the front of me about your prophet being rode by a group of shaitan and they are black and they have a very big penis to the point the penis was touching the mouth of your prophet. How you answer about this
Oh,
that your prophet himself been rode and not only that it says that they are totally naked and those naked genie, they rode Muhammad, and he could not even after that, he spent the whole day from pain. He is so much hurt. So now I want you to answer me. What kind of a prophet?
okay,
Shaitans, they ride on him all day and all night. The mic is yours.
okay. See, you don't let me speak. So I'm asking. So Jesus went follow Satan willingly. So your whole God is following
No,
Satan. He went there willingly, hold the mountain. Is that what you're telling?
If I go, you know, the Muslim is very stupid. He, you know, it doesn't matter
See
how
how
much he
your logic.
answers. He, you know, a Muslim, he played dumb in purpose. I answered you, you
Okay.
lied, you said he kidnapped him. It doesn't say anywhere such a thing. In fact, you will see Jesus there. He is, you know, commanding Shaitan. He is forcing him. He have a victory over him. It's not the opposite. So Shaitan, he said to him,
Oh,
if you
how it is, man, how it is a victory?
listen.
You don't let me speak. You don't let me speak.
Did Shaitan say to Jesus, if you are the son of God, throw yourself? Did he say that to him?
That's it. Jesus could not do it. That's when he lost.
Did Jesus
If he
say,
did that one, he won.
okay, I will do it? So Shaitan, he failed, but you're a prophet. He was controlled by Shaitan. Literally, they rode on him. And they have obviously some sexual entertainment on him. I want you to explain the hadith in front of your eyes. How in the world men who they are genie and they are black and they are naked and they were riding your prophet all night. So who is the one kidnapping who? The mic is yours. You know, you don't know Arabic. No problem. I will translate the page. You know what? Let me give you the the link. You can use Google Translation and you can check it out. Here we go.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this topic. Don't change the topic. You're a prophet being rode. Literally, they rode on him like a donkey all night long. And this is Sahih. Look, it says here, Sahih, Sahih. Let me show you. Sahih. So don't tell me this is not authentic. This is Sahih. خلاصة حكم المحدث. It is Hassan and Sahih. 2 degrees. Hassan and Sahih. Both. So when the shaitans, or not even one shaitan, I wish it was shaitan. It was a group of shaitans. They were riding your prophet and he was in pain all night. What do you
Okay.
say?
So you never let me speak. Okay, you never let me speak. First of all, you have to understand when Jesus was taken by the Satan. You said he went willingly. If Jesus went willingly, then he follows Satan. First thing. Second thing, without any shame, you Christians, you say Jesus won. So stupid person, just understand what is the winning. If Satan took me to the mountain, if Satan said to me, if I am son of God, jump from the mountain, then if I do nothing, what is that means? I cannot do it.
Hold
Jesus
on.
bring
No,
me.
no, no.
He
Hold
should have
on.
done that
Hold
one.
on. Hold on. Hold on.
He was silent.
What do you mean he can do?
How it
Hold
is
on.
winning?
Hold on. Hold on.
How it is winning?
When Jesus, when he command the demons and he command them to come out of the man, they jump inside the pigs like Muhammad and they jump over the cliff. So Jesus can condemn and he can command the demon and Satan. And this is what happened. That's a story. But what story I'm showing you right now, your prophet himself not only is controlled by shaitans, they rode in him and they are naked. Explain to
I
us.
will see. First of all, I will explain this one only after you explain your Jesus.
I
Okay,
already
you are running
explained to
away.
you. You see, you are
You
trying to
explain
escape.
nothing.
You
You
see,
explain nothing.
I
You explain
am
nothing.
sure if I keep explaining to you until tomorrow, you will say to me, you said nothing because you want to avoid the embarrassment that your prophet is a gay and a bunch of men, they are black men. I don't believe that they are Satan. This is a false story. This is not Shaitan. Those are black men. They were riding your prophet, and obviously they were having sex with him because it says that they made him in pain, very, very heavy pain. Explain to us, where was Allah? Where was the angel Jibreel who always guard Muhammad? According to you Muslims, Shaitan cannot even get close to Muhammad because you have two angels with him. How those two, many, not only one, they rode your prophet all night and they are black. Muhammad, he claimed that they are Shaitan. I don't believe it. Prove it to me. They are normal men, they are black African men, and those are the first African they were able to ride over a white man. Good for them. Explain to the audience, not to me. What happened there?
Okay.
And stop making excuse. Stop making excuse. Lying, saying you did not answer me. I did. So go answer. Why the shaitan riding Muhammad?
First of all, okay. First of all, answer simple thing. So you said Jesus won the temptation. Okay, you said that one. Okay, I'm asking. See, you now let me speak because you know you are completely destroyed. If Jesus won, now here Satan putting a challenge. He is telling, turn the stone into bread first. Second challenge, jump from the mountain. Third challenge, okay, he is putting some challenge. So if Jesus won, that means he should be able to do that. He should jump from the mountain, and that then he won.
Okay, this
If
is
nothing
okay.
happened to him,
Let
that
me
is
answer you. Let
winning.
me answer you.
That is the
Let
winning.
me answer you. Shut up. Shut up. Jesus said, "Don't."
And let me finish,
It
man.
says Jesus said to him, "Don't try your God." So he said to him, "Don't try me. I'm God." Regardless, making things happen. You donkey. Your Jesus in the Quran, he made things even more than this. He made people come from the grave. According to your prophet, he commanded even the son of Noah, which he died thousands of years ago, to come from the ground, and he stood in the front of Jesus. According to your prophet, Jesus can make from the mud the bird, living bird. He breathed into it and he fly. According to your prophet, Jesus can control nature. According to your prophet, Jesus can feed millions. According to your prophet, Jesus can control nature. So if he did not do what Shaitan asked him for, because Shaitan cannot command Jesus, but Jesus can command Shaitan. I got you busted. But now I can show you your prophet saying that Shaitan command me. Do you want to see it? You see, you say you don't know Arabic and you keep running away from the verses I showed you about your prophet being ruled by a bunch of black men. Muhammad claimed that they are Shaitan. But let me show you what
You
Muhammad
don't
said.
let me
Hold
speak.
on.
You don't let me
Let me
anything.
show you. No,
Yes,
you
yes, yes.
did.
You don't let.
Hold on. Did
Why I'm
Muhammad,
late?
did Shaitan command Muhammad? Yes or no? Answer me.
And first of all,
Did
okay.
Shaitan, did
I'm asked.
Shaitan, did
No, no,
Shaitan,
I'm not.
did Shaitan command Muhammad? Either yes or no. An answer, very simple. Yes or no.
Okay. Did Satan
Did
command Jesus?
Shaitan answer?
That means,
Did Shaitan command? Did Shaitan command Muhammad? Yes or no?
did Satan command Jesus? Yes or
No, he
no?
could not. I just showed the answer. You yourself, actually,
He commanded.
you yourself got yourself busted. You said Jesus refused to do anything Shaitan he asked him for. God, did he say that? You said that. So Jesus refused to do anything shaitan he want. So now Jesus, he was not commanded by shaitan. In opposite, Jesus said to him, don't try your God. I am God. Don't try me. I'm your God.
He never said that.
Here, read with me.
He never said that. He never said that. He never said that.
This is Sahih Hadith. It says that shaitan, every one of you, he have a devil. They said to him, even you, prophet of Allah, he said, even me. But he command me not but to do good. Do you see it? Who command Muhammad? Shaitan. It's in front of you.
Okay, he
And
command.
this is authentic.
Okay, he command him to.
This is authentic.
Okay, he command him to do good things. So what's the problem? He
Aha.
command to do good things.
Now hold
Your
on,
Jesus,
guys.
your Jesus was commanded by Satan to jump from the top.
So now we reach an agreement
Okay, to
that
jump from the mountain.
Shaitan cannot command Jesus, but Shaitan can command Muhammad. And now you are claiming that Shaitan he command Muhammad to do good things. That means Shaitan is the God of Muhammad and he's Allah. Because I thought the Quran saying Shaitan is pure evil. It turned to be now Shaitan is Allah. He is the one who command Muhammad to do good things. So Muhammad is confused about who is God. He think is a Shaitan is a good God. So he received command from Shaitan. You said that. Everybody heard you. Explain to us the good command of Shaitan. Go ahead.
See how you're lying, how you're laughing. You don't let me speak. I'm asking you, man. Imagine let
You
me
keep
tell you a
saying
story, okay?
the funny. You
Let
are
me tell me.
talking to me. You are the one who refused to read all the reference I gave you. I give you the link to use Google. You refuse to read it. You keep asking me the same question. I answer you, and you keep saying to me, "You are not letting me read." So now, let an answer. So now you said, "Okay, Shaitan is commanding our prophet to do good things." Wonderful. Name for us the good thing Shaitan he command your prophet to do. Go ahead.
First, man, let me answer what I'm asking. Imagine Satan took me to the mountain, okay? He's telling me, turn the stone into bread. I say, I don't do that. Then Satan took me to the mountain, jump from the mountain. I say, I don't do that. That's mean I won. In which world,
First
if
of
we
all,
refuse to do something, that
he
means
did
we
not
won?
say
It's
potato.
kind of stupid logic.
Listen,
My donkey can do that
Indian
one.
boy, Mr.
Even
Curry,
my donkey can do that one.
Mr. Curry. Too much curry will kill you. He did not say I don't do that. He says, "Don't tempt me. Don't try your God." Why you are a stupid liar?
No, he did
Now
not say that. He did not say that. He said, don't tempt the Lord. He never said, don't tempt me.
Listen.
Go to the verse. Go to the
You
verse.
agreed. You are trying
Go
your
to the
best
verse.
to avoid the embarrassment. I answer you about this question. At least answer me here. You said Shaitan, he command Muhammad to do good things. So now we agree, me and you, that Jesus refused the command of Shaitan. He asked him for many things, he did none. But here you agreed that Shaitan commanding Muhammad and Muhammad he obey. Give me examples of the good commands of Shaitan according to your religion.
First of all, you have to understand something. You never answer anything. I'm telling here, how can it be winning? If Jesus refused to do, that means he skipped the test. How can it be
See,
winning?
guys, he will
That
not
means my donkey can win.
he will not
All I
answer
have to do is,
listen, everybody in
how
the
can
chat,
it be winning?
everybody,
How can it
I
be
want
winning?
everybody when we finish this video, put your comment and tell me who is the coward refused to answer. You admitted yourself that Shaitan asked Jesus to do things. He refused to do any, none of them. But here you
And
agree
how
that
can it be winning? That's
you're
what I'm asking.
you're a
How can it be a
prophet.
win? If he refused
No,
to do,
Jesus.
how can it be a win?
Nobody can question the ability of Jesus. So Shaitan, he knew already that this is the Son of God. The Quran confirmed that Jesus can create from the mother bird. Jesus can make anything. According to the Quran, there's a chapter. It's called the chapter of the table. What does that mean? Jesus, he commanded the sky to send 7 whales, 7 sandwiches. Every sandwich have a whale. Jesus, he can control nature. Your prophet saying even Jesus can command the sand to make it a human being without even touching it. Jesus can make mud and breathe into it the same as Allah he did to Adam. So there's nobody can question the ability of Jesus. Even your Quran confirmed that. But now I am questioning how your God allows Shaitan to command Muhammad good command. And what are they, the good command? The mic is yours. Please stop trying to avoid the embarrassment. And this is authentic hadith.
Okay, now, First of all, okay, let me summarize what I asked you.
First
I
of all,
asked you,
first of all,
if Jesus
you
refused to do
repeat,
something,
listen,
how can
how
it be
many
winning? You
times
don't
I need to
understand.
answer the same question? You are stuck with it. You know why? Because you are in a shithole. Let us agree together. You are in a shithole. You don't know how to get out. You are the one who mentioned shaitan, and I actually trap you. That's what I do with Muslims. Muslims are a bunch of fools. I will let you speak about any topic, but the second you mention it, I will make you shish kebab. Anything you say. I'm a Christian prince, you idiot. You have no idea you are talking to who. So now read. Shaitan commanding your prophet. What command he gave him? Quran? Hadith? What command he gave him? Remember, the Muslims, they do follow whatever Muhammad say. Whatever Muhammad do. Shaitan do things according Muhammad do things according to Shaitan. Muhammad say things Shaitan told him to say. Muhammad he pray according to Shaitan teaching. Muhammad he walk like Shaitan told him. Muhammad he talk as Shaitan command him. You agreed. So now give us some example of Shaitan command to Muhammad, which is called between two bracket good command. Go ahead.
Okay, if you really think you are cooking me, can you come to a discussion with equal time? Okay, if you think really you are cooking me, can you come to a discussion with equal time? Each of
What
us have
equal
5 minutes
time?
or
Listen,
10 minutes.
I gave you the.
Can you agree
Listen,
to that one?
guys. How many times he repeated the same question, and how many times I answered the same question? The same. I mean, you could talk about time. I give you all the time. Anyone else will kick you out long time ago because you're stuck with the same question. I am giving you the same answer. Here we go. Jesus never obeyed Shaitan. Shaitan asked him to do things, and you yourself you said, "Well, why Jesus did not?" He say, "I will not do it." You said that, so you refuted yourself. But now we have a bigger problem. Shaitan commanding Muhammad. Muhammad obeying Shaitan. I thought Muhammad he obey Allah only. So Muhammad obey who? Shaitan or Allah? Based on the hadith in front of you, which is authentic, Shaitan he obey Muhammad he obey Shaitan. The mic is yours, and tell the audience what kind of a prophet he received command from Shaitan, and give us examples of the command which is called good command of Shaitan.
Okay, this is the thing. You say anything, and that is a good answer. Man, I can avoid the question too. First of all, I am asking you if something he refused to do something, how it is a winning. If you ask me, if you are Muslim, do that. If I say no, I cannot do that. I don't do that. That means I won.
How many
In which
time?
world?
How
In
many
which
time I
universe?
answer
If you
you?
refuse to do something,
Nowhere,
that is
nowhere.
the
He
winning.
did not say I
Don't you
cannot.
understand the
You
simple
are a
logic?
fabricator. You are a fabricator liar. Nowhere he said I cannot.
Whatever.
You are
See
a
again,
liar.
again.
I asked you to read the verses. Nowhere it says I cannot do that. You are a liar, fabricator. People die laughing at
Okay,
you.
if I say,
So now listen,
if I
listen.
say I don't do that, that means
Jesus
I won.
said to
If
him,
I say, if you ask me,
it's been
if you say,
written, don't tempt your God, which means don't try your God. You cannot try me. I am your God. It's not up to you. Okay, hold on. Isn't the Quran say the same thing, you idiot? I can show you a verse from the Quran saying the
okay, no,
same thing.
okay, no, I'm asking, man. Okay, if you ask me, if you
So
are Muslim,
listen, I
do that.
answered
And
you already,
if I say,
already I answered you.
no, your
Listen,
answer
listen.
is not,
I want
your answer is nothing. You avoid that one. You don't answer.
The shaitan who command Muhammad right now, he is in the chat room, he's listening. He want to hear how, as a Muslim, explain how he command Muhammad. Please, I know you are a hero, you can make it, and you will bring victory to Allah. Muhammad received command from shaitan. What he command him to do? Go ahead.
Okay, friend. I'm lastly asking, okay. If you are really think you are cooking me, allow me to have a time discussion with equal time. No, what you are giving me time, but you are interrupt me each time.
Are you
Okay.
getting
No,
you
this
are
is you don't like to come. You
listen,
don't like to come to equal time discussion because you know you
I'm
cannot.
being
You
very
don't answer
kind.
because
I
your
repeated the
answer
question a
goes
thousand
complete.
times, and you are complaining about time, you idiot. Anyone else will kick you out. You know what?
Man,
I believe you are trying to make me lose my patience, kick you out, so you will escape. I will not. I will let you here sitting like a monkey. Enter tomorrow. If you don't answer, I will keep repeating the same question. I promise you. So now, Muhammad being commanded by shaitan. I showed you the hadith where shaitans are riding on Muhammad and they were naked and they are black shaitan with big penises like a penis of a donkey, and their penises was moving in front of the mouth of Muhammad, and Muhammad he could not even sleep because the hadith says he was so much in pain. And now we receive another hadith which is in English. You have no excuse not to read. And you agreed. You said, so what the problem? Shaitan is commanding Muhammad good command. So Muhammad received command from who? From Allah or from Shaitan?
See, man, I can answer this one. If I answer this one, you will go something else, and you don't answer what I'm asking.
I
I'm
will,
asking very simple thing. Okay,
I did
okay.
not
Let me give
go.
another
I
example.
did not
Let me
go
okay.
something
Let me
else.
give
It
another
is you who
example.
opened this topic. It is you who opened this topic, not me. It is you who opened the topic about Shaitan and Jesus, not me. And now you all feel so
You
bad
don't even
about it.
you.
So listen now, answer me.
No, I can
We
come. I
started
can.
with the ant. We
Okay.
started with the army of the ants, then the army of the cockroaches, then the army of the birds and the chicken, and then the army of the genie, and then the flying carpet. And now we are talking about Muhammad being rode by tens of shaitan, and they are black African. قوم من الزط. And now here we receive at the end a fax from your prophet, an email saying, "Hey CP, shaitan he command me to do good. I want to know what the good shaitan commanding the good prophet." The mic is yours. Don't tell me I don't have enough time. I will not talk as long as you
Okay.
are explaining what shaitan doing to Muhammad. Go ahead.
Okay. CP, I will answer this one. I will come with
Don't
same
tell me
topic
I will
even
answer it.
tomorrow.
Don't tell me I
I
will
have
answer it.
no
No,
fear.
answer it. No, don't tell me I will answer it. Just answer it.
No. If I answer this one, it will move to a different topic. You will go on and on. But
Sure,
before
sure.
that, I need to get a good
I
answer
will
from
go
you.
with you wherever you want. I will go with you wherever you want. No problem. But Shaitan
Oh,
don't command me.
no
Now,
problem.
now answer everybody. Who is the one who command Muhammad? Shaitan or Allah? And how Allah he make Muhammad controlled by Shaitan? Because when we say the word command, that means he is in control. The mic is yours.
And first of all, okay, if command doesn't mean control, even Satan commanded Jesus. That doesn't mean Satan is in control.
No, he
Okay,
couldn't.
let's
No,
have a
see,
little bit of common
see,
sense.
you are
If
making things
if
up.
he said
It is
command, he
you.
said do,
It is
he said do that.
you.
This
It
is the
is
command of
you.
God.
It is you who said that Jesus said, "I will not do it." Guys, did he say that? It's you who said that. Satan asked him to do
I
things.
said yes.
Jesus says, "I will not do it." You said that. So he's not commanding him.
Yeah.
Command, Abdul. Command mean when you do obey. If I do not obey, that means his command is false. I can command Allah now to come to me. Allah, he says, okay, command until tomorrow. Who cares? So I can command the Trump, hey Trump, call me right now. Trump, he said, get lost. So who care? So you stupid idiot. You are mature, or are you 6 years old? You have to be mature. I speak only to Muslims who are 6 years and older. Are you 6 years and older? If yes, you can continue with me. If you are five, sorry. So now, as a mature person at the age of 6, I want you to tell me when Shaitan commanded Muhammad, which means Muhammad he's saying he commanded me to do good, which means he do what what Shaitan told him. He commanded him to do only what is good. So Muhammad he do what Shaitan command him. I know that you are searching Google, you are trying to buy time, and you cannot find an answer for stupidity of your prophet. So please, the audience, they are waiting with a lot of patience for your maturity to come. Shaitan command Muhammad. Allah is not commanding Muhammad. Why?
Yeah, it is Allah is not commanding Muhammad. Allah is the one giving all the command.
Well,
If anyone asks you to do good things, you can do that one. It doesn't matter. So here in this hadith, what he's telling, even the Satan is under the control of Muhammad. That's why he's telling good things. If someone is asking you to do good thing, it doesn't matter who say that one. It is a good thing eventually, right?
so hold on.
If
So
anyone
so
asks you to do
now
good thing,
so now
you can do that one.
so
It doesn't
Muhammad,
matter.
don't
So
don't
you are telling,
don't speak fast. Don't speak fast. We have time. Don't speak fast so people can understand. Already your accent is very hard
okay,
to understand. So
now I answered. So you
listen.
don't answer.
So
See you how you
who
avoid
is
the question.
no you did not answer. Who is the one is commanding Muhammad now? Shaitan or Allah? This is number one.
Hmm?
Who is the one commanding Muhammad at that moment? Shaitan or Allah?
So Allah is the one commanding everything. Allah is the one giving all the commands to Muhammad and all the prophets.
So are you saying Shaitan and Allah they have the share they share the same command?
Oh, who said it's the same command? If anyone do good things,
I
okay,
ask you,
even
I
Prophet
ask
Muhammad,
you,
when the
I just
okay,
ask you, I
okay,
just ask you, who is the one commanding Muhammad, Allah or Shaitan? You said Allah.
Allah is the one giving commandments.
Okay,
Okay,
but here,
anyone give a
but
commandment.
here,
Okay, if I ask you, give charity. If you do, that doesn't mean I'm your God. If anyone can ask you to do good things, you will do. If you're a good person, if
okay,
anyone,
if
that's
okay,
whether it's
I will
Satan
listen,
or
listen,
Christian
listen. Okay,
or
listen,
Jew
listen,
or
listen.
Hindu, if
If
anyone asks you
if
to do good things,
Shaitan,
you will do that, God. Right?
if Shaitan command me to bow down to the Adam, to the idols, is that a good command or a bad command?
It's a bad command.
Bad command. Thank you very much. Finally. But this is what happened. Your prophet, he claimed that
Mm,
Shaitan gave him a command and he bowed down to the three
mm,
daughters of Allah, Al-Hat and Al-Uzza
mm,
and Manat. Do you want me to show you the reference?
mm.
He bowed down to them. And not only that, he said, their intercession is a must. And that, according to the Quran, is the command of Shaitan. Is that true?
That, that that is a fabrication. Okay, there's nothing authentic. It's a fabrication. I know you will go to somewhere else. I
This is
know it's a
this,
fabrication. There's nothing.
guys, this is a fabricated, but this is Quran.
Well, okay, where Quran say that? Go there.
What?
Mm.
This is Quran.
Okay, go to the translation 2718. See, now you will jump a different
No,
hole
we are
and you will
not.
never answer
We
my one.
are in the same topic. We are talking about Shaitan commanding Muhammad to do things. You know, we are not jumping. Hilarious Muslims. So now we are getting closer to the truth. So Shaitan, he
Okay,
command
okay.
Muhammad. Shaitan, he command Muhammad, chapter 22, verse number 52, very well-known satanic verses. And Shaitan, he throw command on the mouth of Muhammad. This is Quran. Stop playing the game saying to me this is weak and this is not a true story. It is Quran. The mic is yours.
Show me the Quranic verse.
I showed you the screen. You see it?
Where's the verse?
Chapter 22, verse
50
number
go?
chapter 22, verse number 52.
22, verse number 50.
52. Mhm.
So here it says, okay, Satan would, it is echo. I don't know.
What I don't know. Is that an answer, Mr. I don't know?
Okay, okay, it says Allah would eliminate the Satan influence. So God would eliminate the influence. What is the issue there?
Where it says
Muhammad is
influence.
a human. Okay,
Where it says influence. So Shaitan, he have a channel in
it says,
YouTube. Shaitan, he have a channel in YouTube. He was doing influencing on your prophet. It says that he throw satanic verses, revelation in his
mm,
mouth. And the hadith before, you agreed with me that Muhammad received good command from Shaitan. Good command.
he said, okay, no, he said,
Quran
well,
confirm that Shaitan, he gave Muhammad satanic verses.
oh man, okay. See, let me answer that one. So in this verse, it is telling, okay, let me read the verse, okay.
Uh-huh.
Whenever we send a messenger or
Uh-huh.
a prophet, any messenger, whenever it's messenger or a prophet,
Uh-huh.
when he recite our revelation, any prophet who recite our revelation,
Uh-huh.
Satan would influence people understanding of his revelation.
Uh-huh.
People will influence not understanding his revelation, but eventually Allah would eliminate Satan influence. So if any prophet come, not Muhammad, even Jesus, even Moses, even Solomon, or even David, Satan would influence that one. God will remove that one. What is the issue there?
Abdul, can you show me the
Now you
word?
understand the
Can you
basic
show me?
logic.
Can you show me the word influence?
Okay, go to this. Okay, yeah.
What? According to
This is
who?
the chat.
According to who?
I will share the link. Go to the link. I have
According to
one
who?
translation. Go to the link.
According to who? No, no, the verse in front of you. Where is the word influence?
I have shared the Quran translation in the chat. Open that one.
Where? What?
I have shared the link.
Oh,
Don't you
okay. You
understand
have the
English? I
link?
have
Okay.
shared the link.
Well, I have a bad news for
Yeah,
you.
in the chat.
They are lying to you because there's no influence. And I speak
Okay,
Arabic.
okay, okay.
Arabic.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Hold on.
hold on.
Okay, I have to.
The
I
link.
have to believe you. I
Okay,
have to
hold on,
reject the
hold on,
Muslims.
hold on, hold on,
Wonderful,
hold on,
wonderful,
hold on. The link you
wonderful,
gave me,
wonderful, wonderful.
the link you gave me, we can move our hand, our mouse over the words one of one, where it shows the word influence in the Arabic. Here we go. Here, I will move my hand over. You see it? Over what you gave me. This is one you gave me. Where is the word influence? Which one? Nowhere. They are making things up. It says
Okay,
alqa,
now you are
alqa, he throw. You see, this is the website you gave me. He throw, shaitan, he throw. He throw what?
okay.
In
Go.
his recitation, in his recitation. This is the website you gave me. Where is the word influence?
You are telling. Okay, so you are telling I don't go to Quran translation. So all the translations are wrong. I have to come to you.
No,
So
no,
you are
you do not need to go anywhere. The website you gave me is good. I like it. Here we go. Move your mouse over the word one by one. Show me which one of them is Mr. Influence, YouTuber. All of it, it says throw, throw, throw. So shaitan, he throw in the wishes of Muhammad, the translation here is recitation, shaitanic verses. And then Allah, he will delete what he
he will
throw.
abolish that one.
He will deal. Yes,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. Thank you very
Oh,
much. So, guys,
okay, he will throw.
okay.
Okay.
So, do you agree that it says he will abolish? Do you agree?
Yeah, Allah will abolish. Okay, yeah. So what's the
Wonderful.
issue? This is
That's
not.
me.
It is not for one.
That means
Okay, it is.
Muhammad receive,
Okay.
as long he will abolish. He will. Correct. He will.
It is not talking. It is not about Muhammad. This is talking about all the prophets,
No,
including
no, no.
Jesus.
This is about
I.
Muhammad. No, this is
Oh,
about
okay.
Muhammad. This is
Yeah,
about Muhammad. This is about Muhammad.
yes,
You can
man.
open. You can open
Whenever
the
we send a
interpretation.
messenger,
You can open the interpretation. This is about Muhammad.
man, this is revealing to Muhammad, but this is talking about
No,
all the
no
prophets.
problem.
Whenever
But
we
this
send
has
a
happened.
messenger,
This verse
prophet
revealed.
before
This
you.
verse revealed to him why? Because he bowed down to the three daughters of Allah. Correct?
No, no, that is false because that incident is not there.
Where?
Maybe some
Where? Hold on.
commentary say
Hold
that
on,
one.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. When you say this is false, false according to who? Al-Qurtubi, Al-Tabari, Al-Jalalain, who? Why you are making things
Man,
up?
commentaries. See,
Huh?
so the Quran do not say that one. Quran authentic hadith, this story is not there. So some scholars, yeah, commentators can have
Guys,
different
hold
opinions.
on.
Some commentators can be
He
wrong.
just said according to authentic hadith. Which book we can find the authentic hadith?
Now you are going somewhere else.
Is
See,
Ibn Kathir
now when God,
is Ibn Kathir a trustworthy book?
first of all, this is talking about all the prophets.
Don't tell me, Mr. First
Okay.
of all. Don't tell me, Mr. First of all. Is
See.
Ibn Kathir
Now
trustworthy?
you can,
Is Ibn Kathir trustworthy?
when he is quoting Quran and hadith, he is trustworthy. When he is
Okay,
making his
here we
own
go.
opinion, he
Here
is
we go.
wrong.
Here we go. Here we go. This is Ibn Kathir. This is Ibn
Hmm.
Kathir. This is Ibn Kathir. And even if Ibn Kathir he will accept or not, who cares? Ibn Kathir is not even was exist in the time of Muhammad. We have the Quran itself says Allah will abolish whatever shaitan he throw in. So why Allah will
Okay, so
abolish?
what's the issue?
Why? So did shaitan throw something in or not? Yes. How we know?
Okay,
Allah will abolish whatever shaitan throw
okay.
in. Okay, shaitan threw in where?
Okay, to the revelation, any prophet. See, whenever we there is a prophet before you. So it is talking about not only Muhammad, it is talking about all the prophets, even before Muhammad, including
Is
Jesus.
talking about Muhammad specifically, even though it's mentioned that all the prophet received satanic verses, which make it more stupid because that means all Islamic prophets are satanic. That's what the verse saying,
No,
including
God
Muhammad.
abolished
Yes.
that one. How can it be? How can it be? How can we satanic when Allah abolished that one? They
Okay,
do not
okay,
follow
okay.
that one. It is
Guys,
you
okay,
believe. It is you believe.
hold on. You have a good
David, if the David prophet,
brother and
I know, I
sister.
know. If the
Brother and
David the
sister,
prophet,
hold on. I have Zakir Naik is calling. Christian Prince, he got you busted. And he got the point, good point. So listen, I will agree with you. I will make you happy. Guys, did he say, and I want you to repeat, that Shaitan, he did that to all the Prophet? Did you say that? Say yes.
Satan had told the prophets, and God abolished that one. Yes.
And Allah will abolish it. So Allah will not allow Shaitan to corrupt his book, correct?
Allah is, yeah, yes, at his time, yes.
Thank
When
you
it
very
was
much.
given
No,
revelation, he
no,
will.
not at that time. Not at that time.
At
No,
that
no, no,
time.
no, no. Don't say at that time. Because
Yeah.
those prophet
Yeah.
was before Muhammad already. What at that time? Before Muhammad. So now the Muslim, they lie when they say the Bible is corrupt. Because anything Shaitan he tried to throw in, what Allah will do? Allah will abolish it. And everybody heard you saying, insisting, this is for all the prophet, all the prophet, all the prophet. So Allah, he promised that anything Shaitan he tried to throw in, Allah will destroy. He will abolish all the prophet. So when the Muslim they lie, they say that the book of Isa is corrupted, the book of Moses is corrupted, the book of Abraham is corrupted, and you know the CD run. But this verse saying the opposite. Any time Shaitan he throw any in the recitation of his prophet, Allah will abolish it. You got screwed. You Muslim, you screwed your prophet, you screwed all your religion, and you got your prophet busted again.
Okay. Okay, let me explain. Okay, now here this verse is talking about when revelation is given to a prophet. When it is given to a prophet, then if Satan throws something, God will destroy that satanic verses. When there is a prophet, when revelation is given to a prophet, but after the prophet died, then there is no longer prophet, then it can be corrupted. This is talking about when revelation
Let
is
us let
being
us
given.
let
When
us go
something is being given to a prophet,
let us go with you,
that is to
guys.
understand
Guys, let us
that
go with you. Look how stupid your
after
answer
later
is.
it can be corrupted.
Look how stupid
Okay.
your answer is. You are saying to me, shit, Allah,
Okay.
he cared that Shaitan cannot corrupt at that moment, but not later. But look what happened. Just to show you that the satanic verse is still in the Quran. I have a proof from the Da'if hadith. I have a Da'if hadith prove that the satanic verse is still in the Quran. What do you say?
I don't know, man. Okay. You see, you jump from one topic to another. Now
No,
let
we
me
are
answer
not.
something.
We are
All
still
this time you
here.
are
We
asking
are
me,
still
okay,
about Shaitan
you know,
commanding your prophet. You forgot. You are the one who mentioned to me Jesus. I mentioned to you to Muhammad, and now we are
okay,
studying the case.
I answer.
Muhammad received command from Shaitan, and the command are good. And now we find that Allah will abolish the word of Shaitan from the Quran. I have a proof from the Da'if hadith says no. The satanic verses given to Muhammad is still there. What do you think?
I answer all what you ask. Now let me answer one thing. Can you answer that one? Oh, it is one-way
Which one?
communication. You are the one asking, I am the answer.
Answer
Can
me.
I ask you something? Can you answer?
I have a da'if hadith. It says that those verses are still in the Quran. Do you accept the da'if hadith? Yes or not?
I promise you I will answer, but let me ask you something.
Don't
If
ask
this is
me.
only one-way communication,
After we finish,
no, you,
why you
I
want to
cannot ask
change?
you.
Why you want to change the topic? Listen, you can ask me. You want to know the size of my shoes? It's 13. Who care? But this is not the question. 13 is the size of my shoes. Stop talking about my shoes. I'm asking you. In the hadith, it says that the satanic verses is still there, and this is the Da'if hadith. Do you accept the Da'if hadith saying the satanic verses is still in the Quran? Yes or no? Say yes or no. That's all.
No, first of all, okay, now can I ask you something? You don't, okay, you are you, okay,
Stop saying first of all, please. Do you accept the hadith saying that the satanic verses, which is da'if hadith by the way, I'm just being honest with you, brother, it's da'if hadith. Do you accept the hadith saying that the satanic verses still in the Quran? Either you say I accept it, or I say no, I don't.
if it is da'if, I don't accept it.
All
If it
right,
is sahih,
here we
then I
go.
will accept that one.
But this is Quran. The da'if hadith I'm talking about is in the Quran. The verse after it's saying it's still there. The verse after it,
What says?
verse 53, it says, yes, the verse is still there because whatever shaitan he throw in is going to work with the Muslims. That will increase the disease in the heart of those who they want to follow them. So Allah did not abolish them because how we can increase the disease of the Muslims in their heart if they are not there?
Okay,
It's in the front
What
of
are you
you.
talking about? Okay,
Listen, it's in the front of you. This is the Quran. It's in the front of you. It says that those verses, they will increase the disease of the heart. Who is the one who followed the Quran? The Muslims, not us. We don't follow the Quran anyway. Those verses will not affect us. We are not the one who worship the daughter of Allah. So the verse saying, and that he make that which the devil he propose a temptation for those who their heart has a disease. So is it still there or not? Yes, it's in the Quran. It's going to affect the Muslims, and those Muslims who have a disease in their heart, they will follow them. So the verse here, Allah saying he will abolish, but he failed because already those verses stay there. Otherwise, why they will make somebody follow them if they are not there? The verse 53 confirm that verse of the 52 is stupid. Allah did not abolish the verses. The mic is yours.
okay. No, verse 53 say, all that saw, he makes Satan in control for the son. What does it say that? It says simply, okay, I don't know which version you are referring. Let me go to the verse. Okay, let me go to. Can you open the verse? Let me see, because
What
I
do you
have
mean?
shared link. Open the link.
I'm showing it to you in the screen. What translation you like? What translation you like? What translation you like most? I have a
What
translation.
you are telling is not in
I
the.
have a translation of Kamala Harris. I don't know. You tell me what translation you like. I will wait for you. Here we go. There's a list of translation. Tell me which one you like so we can love together. Here we go. All those translation. Choose one. Which one? I will do as you wish. Kamala
Okay,
Harris, Joe
I have shared the
Biden.
link.
Which one? Which one?
No. Man, I have shared the link. Open the link. Easy as you go. I have shared the link. Open the link.
You have who?
I have shared a link.
Ah, the link. Oh,
Can you
okay.
understand my
All
accent?
right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Can you understand my
All right.
accent?
Okay. Okay. I will
I
open
have
it.
difficulty with my
Okay.
accent.
Okay. 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 Don't worry. Don't make a drama. Hold on. I understand your accent sometime, you know.
Man,
Okay. Hold on. Okay. 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 Just wait. Take it easy. Take it easy. All right. Here we go. So now this is the link you gave me. I don't know what you gave me. I will open it. Here we go. We post it. Read for me. This is the link you gave me, right? Oh, this is not the one. Hold on.
go
Yeah,
to the
this is.
next verse. You are talking about.
Yeah, this is the one you gave me.
This is not the one.
Huh?
This is not the one I gave you. I gave you something else. This is not the one.
Okay. Hold
Go
on.
to
I copied the wrong one. Sorry. I copied the other person. All right. Here we go.
yeah.
This is the link you gave me. All right. Read for me from there. No problem. I don't know. It did not open really. Are you sure you gave me the correct link? It opened this.
Yeah, that. Go to 53.
I
Yeah,
have to,
same thing.
I
Same
have to
link.
go
Go to
down.
53.
You mean I have to go down? You did not open into the verse right away. Oh, all right. But that means I have to scroll a
I
lot.
cannot do that. Go to 53. Yeah. Verse 53. I don't know.
All right.
This is the link I shared you.
Why you give me? I mean, why you gave me all the way? Why you don't go and get the verse right away? All right, let's go. We have to scroll all the way down. Oh boy, you will hurt the eyes of everybody. Abdul, which verse now? Okay. Oh boy, which verse we are? 41. Oh boy. Let us see. Verse 50. Almost there. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. Read for us. This is 52 and this is 53. Here we go. Read for us. Remember, you are the one who gave me this, and I challenge you to show me where the word influence is there, right? There's no influence.
The influence is there. Satan influence.
Okay.
So
Read.
he may make Satan's influence a trial. Satan influence a trial for those hypocrites. Satan influence is a trial for hypocrites whose heart are sick and those who disbelieve. So what's the issue?
Abdul.
Whatever Satan throw
Abdul.
is a
Okay.
okay.
Guys,
What's the issue then? Okay.
did he just use the word throw? You just did, right? Throw. Correct?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
now
you can use it.
so
Yes.
now Shaitan he throw it. Allah he took it off or it's there.
Allah. Okay. Now let me explain. If Satan throw something, then Allah revealed this is not from me. This is from Satan.
Okay.
So good people think, okay, this is not from Allah. This is from Satan. We should not follow it. So the
Okay.
bad people will still follow that one. That's what it happens. So
Wonderful.
right?
Wonderful.
Can you
So
understand?
now They are going to follow it where? To follow it where it is?
No, it
Where?
is not in the Quran. But
in the Quran. Wonderful. So is this
no, it's
verse
not.
now?
It is
So
not in the Quran. It is
okay,
not in the Quran.
in the
So
Quran,
only
in
the
the
bad people
Quran.
take it.
All right. So now those who they are following the Quran, the Muslims, they will be influenced by the teach of Shaitan. So it's in the Quran still.
No, no. It is for the hypocrites. Hypocrites are not Muslims.
How they can read it?
Disbelievers take it.
Where they will read it if Allah took it off?
Because when the revelation was given, people are there. The hypocrites are there when revelation is
Ah,
given.
guys,
They know these
when the
things, so they
revelation,
will take it.
hold on, wonderful. When the revelation is given, the people are there, so Allah could not abolish it. It's too late. People copy it, correct?
And Allah, no, I told you. Okay, let me explain what happens. Satan throws something, then Allah says, "This is not from me. This is from Satan." So the Muslims will not take it. Disbelievers will take it. Right? As an example, I am speaking
Hold
to
on,
you.
hold on.
Someone hacked the channel and
The
speak on
hypocrite,
behalf of
hold on.
me, and I say it is not me.
The word hypocrite, according to Islam, is the Muslims, correct?
No, it can be not non-Muslims too.
Okay,
Right?
but
The
it is no,
hypocrites.
no. I can show you. The munafiqeen is those who they are don't follow the prayer, the teaching of Muhammad perfectly. This is what the Quran says. I can show you
Yeah,
differences. Okay, so now,
I,
the
I told you
munafiqeen.
it could be Muslims and it could be non-Muslims too. It's
Hold
just
on. No, the bad Muslims, the Christians don't follow the Quran anyway. So those verses will not affect us anyway. We laugh at them. So now the ones who will be affected is those who they are munafiqeen from the Muslims. If Allah took it off,
okay.
there's nothing to follow. You said to me, well, when Shaitan gave those verses to Muhammad, people heard it, correct?
That's what I'm telling you. When he is revealing, given the revelation,
All right.
Satan influenced the people.
No,
So Allah is telling this is not from me, this is from
not the
Satan.
people,
The good people will not follow it.
not the people who receive revelation, the people or Muhammad.
Man, if the revelation given to people, if the revelation given to the prophet,
Okay.
okay, at that time, people are there. So when Satan throws something, then people think that is from God.
So
And
who is the
Allah telling,
one?
no, this is not from me.
Wonderful. Me and you are getting closer now. So Shaitan, he threw revelation in the mouth of Muhammad. Muhammad, he said those revelation. The people heard them, correct?
No, it doesn't say that. Maybe Muhammad speaking, Satan throw something. People think that is from Allah. There's a possibility. As an example, I'm
Hold on.
speaking.
No.
It doesn't say that.
No. The
Go
story
to the verse.
says, the authentic hadith says that the angel came to Muhammad and he told him after a few weeks, Muhammad, I did not tell you this verse. Muhammad did not even notice. So, angel sent by Allah to tell Muhammad a few weeks after, those are not from me. And he claimed that there is a shaitan, his name is Al-Abyad. He came to your prophet and he took the look of Jibreel and he gave Muhammad those satanic verses. So, Muhammad is the one, he spoke. In fact, the verse before it says that. It says, whatever shaitan throw in the recitation of the prophet, in the recitation of the prophet. So who is reciting? The prophet, not Shaitan.
Okay, even if you yeah. No, first of all, okay, I don't go with your understanding, but for the sake of debate, let's go with you. What you're telling is true.
No,
Okay, now
don't go
took
with
it
me.
back. Then what's the issue?
No. Listen. Don't play this game with me. Don't go with me. This is your interpretation. This is the Muslim interpretation, not my interpretation. I'm not giving you my own. I can show you any interpretation you want. Al-Qurtubi, Al-Tabari, Al-Jalalain, whatever you want. Here we go. I will open your Islamic website in the front of your eyes. I'm not going to give you my own. Don't tell me I will go with you. Don't go with me. Listen, don't go with me. Don't go with me.
No. Don't play the game here.
No.
See.
I will show everybody your Islamic interpretation for the verses. This is not me. This is what you Muslims say. I am just reading what Islam teach, what you Muslim teach in your mosque. So if you don't accept what you Muslim teach about your prophet, then you Muslim don't believe in your prophet. You don't have the same belief. And those are Muslim Sunni. Are you a Sunni?
First of all,
Are
go
you
to the Quran
a
verses.
Muslim? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Muslim Sunni?
Oh yeah.
All right. So I will show you only
Go
Muslim Sunni interpretation. So you have no excuse. All right. So now this is the book of Asbab al-Nuzul. This is a very Islamic Sunni book. It says here in front of you that the Prophet, he demand from Allah. The Prophet, he wished, read carefully how dangerous what it says. Allah, Prophet, he wished secretly that Allah will reveal to him verses will make the Arab, the kuffar, like him. Do you see it? Can you read with me?
Man, first of all, go to the Quranic verse without
No,
going to some
I
tafsir.
am
Or the
I am
tafsir,
showing you,
human can make mistake.
I'm showing you your Islamic books. So now, does it say that secretly?
Islamic,
Does it say that
man,
the
Islamic,
messenger,
my authorities are,
the messenger,
see.
he wished secretly to Allah to send him verses which will make Islam more welcome by those people? Does it say that in front of your eyes?
Man, I told you, my authorities are Quran and Hadith. So commentators can say, different commentators say different things.
Okay.
Okay, now what you are
So
doing is,
hold
you
on.
are going to one specific
Did you
commentator
say?
who
Did you
agree with you.
guys? Did you say different commentators do say different things?
Some things they have a different opinion. That's why we have different
So
tafsir. Same as you.
so
That's
is
why
so
Star
is
Bible says all the Star Bible says the same thing.
so now we have one verse. You are saying to me every Muslim have different opinion about it. One verse.
Did I say every Muslim? I say some scholars have different
Okay,
opinion. Scholars, not every
which
Muslim. Some
scholar?
scholars have different opinion.
I am showing you the scholars. Those are your scholars. You cannot escape them. Those are the top scholars of Islam. So Muhammad, he made a wish secretly to Allah to send him verses will make the kuffar, the
Okay, now
pagan,
you don't.
follow him. Hold on.
Okay, no.
So Allah gave him the verses. So the Muhammad, when he says Shaitan, he gave me those verses, he's lying. The one who gave him the verses about worshipping the daughters of Allah is Allah, aka Muhammad. So what Muhammad, he said those, he noticed that did not work because the Muslim now they discover that Muhammad is a fraud. He bowed down to the idols with the pagans, so it worked. He wished that Allah will give him satanic verses which will make people like him and follow his religion. They bowed down with him. So Allah gave him those verses. And here it says that the wish of Muhammad came from Shaitan. If you remember, I showed you, hold on, I showed you that Muhammad received command from Shaitan, and those commands are a good command, and you agreed, and you say, what the problem? Now we understand. So here we go. Muhammad, he made a wish to Allah. Allah grant him the wish. He gave him verses which will make people accept Islam by worshipping the three daughters of Allah. And then he recited the satanic verses. So when he received, it says here, so he revealed to him the Allah. When he recite, he said, when he reached, read carefully, he recited, but when he reached that he have you thought upon Lat and Al-Uzza and Manat, the third, chapter 53, verse number 19, 20.
And
devil
why are you wasting time?
Hold on.
I told you.
Hold on.
Why are you wasting time? Go to the Quran.
The devil put in his tongue. Did he put in his tongue? Yes or no?
I told you that is not Quran, that is a commentary. This commentary is wrong. This is not based on authentic hadith or Quran.
Get out of here. Guys, this commentary is wrong. It's up to him to say, this is the answer, commentary is wrong. Potato. Everybody, your kids will grow and will laugh at your answers. You are in YouTube already. I advise you to download the whole video. I'm sure you will make the Muslims, Abdul, proud of you. You see, we give them proofs. This interpretation is wrong. All the interpretation agree. Shaitan, he thrown his tongue. All the Muslims. You cannot debate a liar, but you can crush him and get him busted. So you try your best to lie. One after one. Shaitan, he kidnapped Jesus. I mean, really? Shaitan, he commanded Jesus. Are you sure? Shaitan, and then the second we ask him to read, he collapsed. So Muhammad, he wished that Allah will send him a verses will make the Arab pagan. By the way, all of them, they worship Allah anyway. The pagan are pagan because they worship Allah. You Muslims are pagan. Allah is a pagan God, as you see. He have 3 daughters. In the beginning, Muhammad, he said to them, because he's trying to get close to the Jews, he tried to say, oh, my God is the same as your God, so okay, I'm going to dump the 3 daughters of Allah. But Muhammad, when he was with those Arab, he wanted them to believe him. He praised the 3 daughters of Allah and he said, their intercession is hoped for. So those are verses given to Muhammad in the Quran. Allah, he said he will abolish it. How we know that the one who said that verse is not Shaitan? Because if Shaitan can throw verses in the mouth of Muhammad once, he can throw it again and again. Kabich? Correct, guys? If Shaitan can throw, yeah, I kick you out. There's no point. You are a liar. You said this is wrong. You said this is wrong interpretation. Who are you to say it's wrong? Are you a scholar? You don't even know how to read what I'm showing you. Do you have a proof?
I told you.
Do you have a proof? Listen, I always ask you for a proof. Do you have a proof that this is story in front of our eyes? This is the official government website of the King of Jordan, who he claimed he is descendant from Muhammad. Do you have a proof from your prophet or the companion that this story is a lie?
And if there is no proof, then that is the evidence for that one. You don't need to ask me the not
No,
proof
you
for
need
this
a
one.
proof. You need a
If there's
proof.
an evidence,
No,
we need to have
don't waste my time. Take a hike. Because you cannot say to me, how come you ask me for a proof if I say something? I mean, guys, do you see the hypocrisy? There's no need for proof. So I have your books, all of it agree that this is what happened. And even your prophet, he bowed down. When Quraysh they heard this, the verse, they were very pleased. The messenger of Allah gave him police. He carried out the recitation. And not only that, he prostrated. And the Muslims and the idolater protested with him. Do you know why? Because he is worshipping the same God they worship. You Muslims are a bunch of satanic pagan people. My voice is muffled where? In Discord? Is my voice as bad, guys, in YouTube? Okay, let me get out and come back. Hold on, give me a second. All right, do you hear me now? Am I heard better now? Is the sound better? All right, very good. So do you see how they try to manipulate and lie? We give proofs. They give us a loof. Go ahead, Walk.
All right, brother. I don't know which one hurts more, his butt or your hands. You spanked him so many times, and he keep trying to make excuse. And when he already thought he didn't know this ayah exists. Actually, when you told him that he get command by shaitan, he said no, it's only the hadith. And when we told him Quran, he get like shocked, you know. And I was gonna ask you about the hadith we said, the Sahih about the shaitan became Muslim. Is this the same hadith talking about?
It says there in front of you. It says, it says that
Yeah.
Allah, he helped me and he command me not because, you know, he's a Muslim shaitan.
Yeah, and the topic was about because people used to go inside and visit other women, you know, and it was something about Muhammad gave them advice, said don't go because shaitan will be like between you. And when they asked him, is that also you? He said, no, my shaitan became, Allah made my shaitan became a Muslim.
Yeah, he's
Is
a good
that this one
shaitan.
the same hadith?
Yeah, but the important here that because Muhammad is a hypocrite, he claimed that he is different. So anyone he meet
Yeah,
with the women, shaitan will be between them, but not Muhammad. But we know what Muhammad when Muhammad he went to his own son house and
yeah, yeah.
he saw Zainab, and the hadith says, وَكَانَتْ زَيْنَبْ بَيْضَاءٌ جَسِيمَةٌ. You know, in the old days, I don't know if you know the song, the Allala Lala, you know the song about the camel? So
No.
it's a Bedouin song. So this is this woman. She is so beautiful to the point the camel could not carry her. Why? Because she is so fat. So the Arab in the old days, if a woman she is so fat, that means she is so sexy. So this
Ah,
Zainab was extremely white and extremely fat. She's like 500 kilograms, like an elephant. So because that, the hadith says, وَكَانَتْ بَيْضَاءٌ جَسِيمَةٌ مِنْ أَتَمِّ نِسَاءِ قُرَيْشٍ. She was the most fat women, most beautiful of the women of Quraysh. So when Muhammad he went
ah,
there, it says there, so when he saw her, he have lust for her. So Muhammad he claimed that Muslim, when they meet women alone, shaitan will be between them. They ask him, what about you? He said, oh, my shaitan is a good guy. You know, he's a Muslim shaitan. He command me to do good things. And what the good things? He go after his own son wife. She is so fat and beautiful,
wow.
and he wanna boom boom her. Yeah.
So, so it was like getting permission to go whatever woman he wants, you know, to make excuse that he doesn't have a shaitan.
Yeah, and but at the same time, the Muslims, all of them, they agree that if the Prophet, his eyes fall into a woman, uh, and he like her, fall on, mean he like her. Her husband must divorce her, so the Prophet can boom boom her. You know
Ah, that's why his son told him, "Do you want me to divorce her right now?" He said, "No, keep your
exactly.
wife."
Exactly.
Okay, okay. Thank you, CP. I just want to ask about this hadith
You're welcome.
because I
And this
because I
is
want to know the context before I quoting them. You know.
yeah, and this is according to their own Islamic teaching. We are not making things up. This is in the most official Islamic website, and this is Al Qurtubi. So if the Prophet is
Uh,
fall into a woman, her husband must divorce her. Why?
CP,
Because
while
Muhammad
you already
is a pervert.
here, can I take advantage of ask you some other one? There is one hadith which said one of the I am not sure of this one. I'm trying to find out, but I'm confused. It said one of the companion, his wife had a child, and her breasts were closed, and he took a sip from it, and the milk went in his neck, and then he went and asked, and they said she became muharrama for him. Is that do you have any?
Uh, those, I think, you are the one you are reading is from books of Shia, correct?
Yes.
All right. The Muslim Sunni, they will not accept those things. However, I can look for this story and see how we can study it. Uh, but the important, when a Muslim they deny what they have in their books, I don't like to show them things they don't accept. That will not be fair, you know. And I'm not talking about a person an online accept or not. I'm talking about what is not accepted really according to the religion. So when the and this was the funny, when their scholar they say to them, this is what happened, still the Muslim will not accept because it's an embarrassment. Here, this is Al-Qurtubi. This is the official government website of.
I cannot see your screen.
Oh, okay, let me share the screen. Hold on, because I went out. So this is Al-Qurtubi. This is chapter 33, verse number 50. We are talking about the same thing. And then, uh, let us see. Actually, it should not be in this one. Hold on. وقع نظره. Yeah, actually, even here it says. Here we go. The privilege of the Prophet. Let me zoom in. So the privilege of the Prophet are 10. And here he is counting all of them. All of them almost is about sex and money. Sex and money. So here it says, what is made lawful for the Prophet, the privilege, is 16. And he count all of them. And this is the most disgusting one. The last one, number 10. Actually, this is not the last one. There's more. There are 16. But all of them about sex and about money. But here I will translate this one here. إذا وقع بصره على امرأة وجب على زوجها طلاقها وحل له نكاحها. If his eyes fall into a woman, her husband must divorce her so the Prophet can F her.
If his eyes fall on a woman, her husband must divorce her and he is permitted to marry her.
So Muhammad tell them, if you go and meet with the women alone, Shaitan will be between you and her. But he, in his case, no. Shaitan command him do good things. So he, like your wife, you have to give her to him so he can F her. He's a good prophet, man. He's a good man.
And about the menu, which this sheikh is talking about, do you have the menu about those two angels about the magic? I want to know.
Yeah.
How there is no menu there.
Well, you know.
Okay, thank you, Brother City.
You're welcome.
I don't want to take a lot of your time.
You're welcome. I am thinking in the future to become a prophet. So the Muslim will give me their wives. Any women she like, you know, I like her. My eyes fall into her. Her husband, look how decent Muhammad, man, decency. I mean, look how disgusting, filthy scumbag. Don't you Muslims feel ashamed? Every one of you is a pimp. If you ask a Muslim, he will say, oh, I will be honored if the Prophet, if my wife. Can you believe it? He will be honored if Muhammad ifed his wife. This is how the society made them pervert. He have a privilege. And look, all the privilege is about sex and money. He can F women without even paying money to the women. Look, he can F even when he is going to Hajj or going around the Kaaba or anything. He don't need to pay money. It's for free. Muslim cannot do that. He can take false oath to his wives. He can swear to his wives, and he don't need to keep his words. Pervert. He will swear to his wife, I swear by Allah I will do this. Second day he says, Allah allow me not to, to honor my oath. Only Muhammad. And then he can have more than 4 women. Privilege number 4. Muslim, they can have only 4. Muhammad have open taxi. He call Uber send him right away women. Those are privilege. And even a woman, she can offer herself to F him. There's no need for witnesses. There's no need for marriage. A gift. You see, the translation is not accurate. The word nikah mean to F. The woman, she offer him to F her. She opened her legs. What is the witnesses? Allah and Jibreel are my witnesses. I do not need witness. I'm Muhammad. What else? He can F anyone without permission of her parents. This is number 6. Any woman he wish, he can F her without permission. Muslims cannot do that. They can rape a non-Muslim woman, yes. They can rape a slave, but it's a free Muslim woman. You have to ask for permission. Not Muhammad. He can kidnap your daughter right away. You have no right to say yes or no. This is Muhammad. He have the best of the spoil of the booty. They steal big screen TV. Muhammad will take it. You steal an apartment, he will take the best furniture. It's a privilege for him. He have to take, number 2, the best of, not only the best, he have to take the 5th. and the fifth, which means fifth to him, fifth to Allah. So 2 to 5 to his pocket. Translation is not accurate. As you see, the privilege is always about sex and money. And they claim that he is a prophet. And this is the link. Here we go. Let me post it for you. Already we have somebody post in Discord. I will post it in Rumble and YouTube. And you can use Google Translation to translate. And then they say to you, this is a prophet of God. If this is a prophet of God, so who is a pervert? This is a description of a prophet, the best of the booty. Go check the life of Peter. Go check the life of Paul. Go check the life of the disciple of Jesus. Those are the messenger of God. This is come back as a messenger of God. And then an Indian guy who cannot read one letter in his book is coming to teach me about Jesus. You don't even know your religion. Did we have a good time? Did you learn something? I hope you learned how to debate Muslims. You see, the Muslim always he try to divert the topic to talk about the Bible. However, for me, I let them go to beat them more. He think he is now escaping. He don't know he's talking to Christian. I have all the laundry of your prophet. Wherever you go, I will make you shish kebab. You can play this game with other Christians, but you cannot play it with me. And I warn you, Christians, always when you debate Muslim, they would try their best to change the topic. Don't let them do it. Grab them from their tail. How many times he repeated the question about Jesus? The same question. Why? Because he's trying his best. His feet is in the glue. The only way for him to escape the glue is to change the topic. Most of the Christians don't have the ability. I do have, because I know Islam very well. So even if they go there, I will destroy them, no matter where they go. But in your case, they will do it so they can escape, and they will make it about the Bible only. And this way, whatever you say, who cares? You are not even. They will put you in the position of defense. You ask me about the Bible, I answer you, no problem. I'll give you a correct answer. We are not ashamed of Jesus. We are not ashamed of our book. You Muslims are hypocrite. We show you what is in your book, you say da'if. You will not find a Christian saying da'if Bible. The funny, they say our book is not corrupted, and then everything in the religion is da'if. Even their prophet is da'if. Da'if mean weak. Muhammad, he says, I was the most weak person between all mankind in intercourse. I'm trying to be polite, not to say the F word, because this is what he said in Arabic, Al-Jima' in Efin. And then I invoke my God Allah, and he sent me a dish of shish kebab. I ate it, I get the power of 40 men. And each time Muhammad when I do ifin, which means the dish Allah sent him doesn't work for long, expired, like for one night maybe. So Muhammad each time want to have sex, he have to invoke Allah. Allah send him the dish, he eat it, his penis function like and then like he spend the time doing it, blah 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 blah, and then brother, after that, the effect of the food will not function no more, and then the prophet penis will sleep, then he ask Allah again, and then Allah he send him the dish again. And then they say to you, Allah, if He wants something, He say be is going to be. Why Allah sending Muhammad a dish of shish kebab to fix his penis? Even his penis needed Viagra. He claimed that he can have sex with 13 women in the same time. This is the book Faidul Qadir. Faidul Qadir.
The abundance of the Almighty.
Sure, a lot of abundance. Shish kebab. Literally shish kebab. Hadith number 6426. I was the most weak person in effing. And then Allah, He sent me a dish of al-kufaid, shish kebab, literally kebab.
I was one of the people who had the least sexual intercourse until God revealed to me the sufficiency.
Translation is not accurate. Kufaid is kufta. You know kufta? This is kufaid. Here we go. Kufaid. Kufta. I'm sure many of you heard the word kufta, right? This is kufaid. This is not sufficiency. The translation is not getting it right. No, this is not far translation. So Allah, each time He want to F His wives, He sent it to him fi sa'a. And the word sa'a today is used as a word mean hour. In the time of Muhammad, between 15 to 20 minutes. So each time Muhammad want to F his wives, Allah send him a dish shish kebab, and he eat it, and he got the power of 40 men.
I do not want it for an hour except that I find it, and it is a pot of meat in it.
Amazing. Beautiful. Who can beat that? Now I understand why the price of beef is so crazy in America. Hold on. I should not mention this hadith for you. I did not eat beef for long. It's so expensive. Man, I'm not doing the right thing. People now will start buying beef everywhere. Oh boy. Now the women, they will start calling their husband, hello, honey. Listen, when you are coming home, do something useful. Okay, what I will do? Buy beef. We want to make ground beef. Shish kebab. Okay, why? Because I just buy it. Okay? Okay, what happened? Like, I thought you like, no, the beef and shish kebab. Kufta, kufta. All right? This is a prophet of God. Do you Muslims even read how stupid your books? This is a religion of God. If this is a religion of God, what is the religion of stupidity is? Huh? But nobody uses a brain. Nobody. It is haram to use your brain in Islam. It's against Allah, brother. You do so, Allah will be angry. Right? And then after he eat it, he get the power of 40 men. That's good. 40, not 39. What's wrong with 39? Mean, oh mean. Islam is so beautiful. So guys, I hope you have a good time and you learn something good for today. Muslims, sadly, you failed to convert me. I wanted to convert to Islam. But I noticed that your prophet, even his penis is not working. So why in the world I will believe in God? They want to give you a lot of women. When you're a prophet, your best man, supported by Allah, his penis needs shish kebab. Guess what? The one I have do not need any shish kebab. It works fine with hummus. Hummus only. Sorry, I'm just joking. Yeah, this is religion of God. You stupid people. This is religion of God. So what is religion of stupidity is? Are you serious? So your God could not even make Muhammad work like a horse. Even donkeys have better power in sex than him. And you know what? This obsession with the prophet power of sex, like you cannot be a prophet unless you if so good. And then we find that Muhammad, he could not even have sex. He imagined himself. Did you guys watch the movie? It's called The Perfect Host. Anyone know it? The Perfect Host. The first thing I was watching, you know, I don't know what this one funny movie was about. It's free. I think it was in Amazon or something for free. So this guy is obviously mentally ill. Actually, I advise you to watch it. You know, it's really very interesting topic. You will see that you are literally watching a movie about Muhammad. This guy, he imagined himself having sex with people. He imagined himself talking to people. He imagined himself having dinner with people. He sent letters to himself. He received letters. He read them. He believed them. And this is what happened to this guy, the criminal who came to his house. This is the guy. As you see, he is giving drink. He thinks there's people around him. He put food on the table. He danced with women in the table, but there's nobody. This is exactly Muhammad. He kissed women, but there's no woman there. You see behind there, he see people there, but there's nobody. This is who is Muhammad, the perfect host. The hadith says he imagined himself having sexual intercourse with his wives, but in fact, he never had done. So this guy, he robbed a bank, and then he was looking for a house to get in. He found a card or a letter in the post, in the mailbox. He opened it, and then he came to this house. He knocked at the door. In that card, it says a girl name. So he said to the owner of the house, "Hey, I'm a friend of this girl. You know, I just came." He look, it says coming from Australia. "I just came from Australia." The guy opened. He didn't know that this guy is a psycho. Muhammad is a psycho. Is a mentally ill person, sick and filthy. So I hope you guys have a good time, and I pray that you will have a great time with your family in Saturday night. And I will try to come live tomorrow again. We will see how many people watch this video, depend on how many time you share. So until we see you again, I always remind you that God is good. So is Jesus. And we cannot compare anybody, no one. It's an insult. I cannot compare the faith in Muhammad to my Lord. God forgive me if I do so. That is like comparing the devil to the Holy One. Even the devil will be shy in the front of Muhammad because the devil is short of evil and stupidity. So I say, I am an Arab, yes, but I'm a Christian. And I am a prince because the Lord, He made us children of His own. We are the only one we pray to God, we call Him Father. No other believe. All believe, Muslims, they believe they are slaves of Allah. Our Lord don't want slaves. He's almighty. What He will do with slaves? Our Father art of heaven, not our slave owner. So if you like to be free, you go to the Father, where you will be honored in the house of your Father. You will be prince and princess in the presence of the King of Kings. and that is my Lord. And Muhammad, he said, the most person Allah he hate is the one who called himself the King of Kings. Muhammad was speaking about the Bible, speaking about Jesus. The most person Allah hate, which means Satan, is the one who called himself the King of Kings. And you know who is the one is called the King of Kings? That is our Lord the Messiah. So I want to say thank you. God is good. So is Jesus. And we are the crusade. See you soon again.